It started in 1927 in Baltimore, and today the longest continuous intersectional rivalry in college football takes place again here on a 38-degree clear Saturday in South Bend. The Irish in the tunnel. They're back home where they've won the last 16 games. Navy trying to stop the third longest home win streak in Irish history in South Bend. One last game, BC next week. But today it's the traditional rivalry against the midshipmen. And here come the Irish. The usual exhausting Navy prep week for Brian Kelly and his staff. 7-2 against the mids in his career. Very successful, especially in the first half last year out in San Diego against against Navy. Big offensive performance the last couple of games for Chase Claypool. 13 catches, 215 yards. He'll try to take advantage of the Navy secondary. The Navy, they have played very good football. They're alive for their conference title, alive for a New Year's Six bowl game, and they'd love to pull the upset. Here come the midshipmen of the United States Naval Academy. Their coach, Ken Niumatalolo, 12th year as the Navy head coach, bounced back from his worst season with this 7-1 start this year. All right, down to the field, Catherine Tappan standing by with Brian Kelly.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. Coach, your quarterback, Ian Book, had his best game of the season last week against Duke. What would you say has been the biggest change you've seen in him?
I just think confidence, going out there and, he's worked really hard in practice. He just needed to put together, that couple of drives at Virginia Tech, I think, got him over it. And then he was able to duplicate that at Duke, and I expect to see the same thing tonight.
You told us yesterday you and your coaching staff haven't slept all week preparing for Navy's triple option offense. What's been keeping you guys up?
Yeah, really. They're just so difficult. They execute at a high level. Good players and just well coached. All those things combined with an offense that you don't see very much. And they're playing really good on defense. So we've got our work cut out for. Our guys are prepared. They're excited to play. It should be a good game.
Coach, thank you very much.
Thanks, Catherine.
Mike?
All right, Tap, thank you. With the 1984 Heisman winner, Doug Flutie. Three of us were down in Annapolis, as I said, Doug, and it's a reminder, really, of what makes the Navy football team and this team in specific so special.
Yeah, it reinforces to you their work ethic, how disciplined they are, the way they get after it. They're so gritty. And I played against the academies. They're tough. They don't quit. There's no quitting these kids. And by the way, they got a great football team.
Yeah, all right, this option stuff, we know it's that unique week. You have to put it off to the side. But when they have somebody special, they can really make it go. And Malcolm Perry, their quarterback, is special.
Malcolm Perry has 3 1,000-yard rushing seasons. He's a danger to go the distance every time he touches it. Clark Lee said, you're just hanging on whenever he touches the ball. And even when he drops back to pass, he's a threat to take off and run. The fun begins when he drops back.
All right, is there a difference? Maybe the difference is the defense. New coordinator, new philosophy, and terrific results. They've been a difference-making unit.
No doubt about it. They've always been a catch and keep it in front of your team defensively. Now they get after you. They stem up front. They move last second, and you have to adjust on the fly. They come after you, blitz on first and second down, and it's a big challenge for this Notre Dame offensive line to change blocking schemes at the last split second.
Yeah, it's a patience game, but you also have to be aggressive and try to win the game. And that used to be just when Notre Dame was playing defense. It now deals with the Notre Dame offense as well. And you heard Brian Kelly talk about Ian Book. And after that Virginia Tech game, felt like a lot was lifted off of him, and you could see it in his play, especially last week. Doug, when he starts running, he starts throwing better.
It gets him into the groove. As a quarterback, sometimes you can go through a whole quarter without breaking a sweat because you're just handing the ball off or throwing. When he takes off and runs, it gets him into the groove, gets him relaxed, and he starts throwing the ball better as well.
A couple of his offensive linemen are banged up. The right side of the offensive line is new because of injury, and he'll get a chance with the ball first. Navy won the toss, and like they did in their last game 2 weeks ago against UConn, they deferred the option, so the ball will belong to the Irish to get this one started. You have heard that the long sellout streak ended today here at Notre Dame Stadium. It is not sold out. However, it's still a really good crowd. Over 70,000 on hand on this ideal day for college football, as they're here to see the continuation of really one of the special rivalries in the sport. Iconic institutions, legendary football tradition. Notre Dame and Navy share a football field one more time here in South Bend this afternoon. midshipmen happy to have some time on their own hands, right? Bijan Nichols, a very good kicker. Field goals as well, is kicking off for the first time this year. Orange Keys back deep to receive, and off we go from South Bend. Keys will chase that one. It's a touchback, so the Irish will take over deep in their own territory. So Notre Dame's offense, of course, it's Ian Book leading it. Here's the guys who are going to touch it along with Book. Tony Jones back to the starting running back. What about Chris Fink? Healthiest he's been all year. Didn't it show against Duke? 2 touchdowns in the game ball from the Durham effort last week. Second start together for that right side of the offense. Trevor Ruland and Josh Lugg start because Tommy Kramer and Robert Hainsey done for the rest of the regular season with injury. So the captain from El Dorado Hills, California, will get things going for the Irish from their own 25-yard line. Again, first and second down is when Navy likes to bring their pressure. Tony Jones Jr. starts it with a run and a gain of about 5 to the 30-yard line. Diego Fagot on the tackle. So Book really 5 good quarters, Doug, he's put together after that game-winning run that Brian Kelly talked about against Virginia Tech. 4 touchdown passes and over 100 yards rushing in that last outing.
The last drive of the Virginia Tech game to come back and win it really kind of lifted the burden from him a little bit, freed him up mentally.
Officially 6 for Jones on the first play. First pass is complete. Claypool turns the corner up the sideline into Navy territory. Across midfield, they'll mark him at the midshipman 46. Evan Falkman knocked him out of bounds.
We talked about a lot of pressure on first and second down, leaves you one-on-one on the outside. Just a speed cut, catch the ball, make someone miss and go. My theory to attack this defense is let them blitz, get it to your athletes in space on the corner, and see if they can make the tackle.
And pressure can leave you exposed, right? We'll see if the Irish can do that. Here's the pressure picked up, and Book incomplete, trying to get it back to Claypool. Cameron Kinley on the coverage. It'll be second down.
Kinley, a little tighter coverage there, a little upfield route by Claypool, but again, pressure. Navy wants to keep you guessing offensively. They're going to move and stem, which means shifting along the line of scrimmage the last split second, so the offensive line is going to have to adjust on the fly.
First drives have not been great for the Irish this year. From the 46, again, it's picked up. Underneath, it's Fink with room to run. Chris Fink, 15-yard gain and a first down to the 31-yard line.
Again, coming after you on first and second down. They're going to blitz. Here comes the blitz pickup. Solid as a rock, easy under route. No doubt about it that you can. And I talked to Robert Hainsey on the side before him.
Right.
He said the stemming doesn't bother you as much in pass protection. It's more in the run game.
Hainsey, that injured right tackle we were talking about. Here's the first penalty flag of the afternoon.
Full start. Offense number 75. 5-yard penalty. First down.
The Charles Lambertina American Conference. That's the conference Navy is a part of. And the flag on Josh Lugg, the starting right tackle, in for the man we were just discussing, Hainsey.
Now, if Ian Book can stand there flat-footed and survey the field versus pressure packages, it's going to be a long day defensively for Navy. They have to get to the quarterback when they decide to go get him.
So first and 15, Jones will run to the left and is stretched out and taken care of. Mentioned Diego Fagot. He is a very good, very active top tackling linebacker on this Navy defense, coordinated by Brian Newberry. New to the Naval Academy, he was at Kennesaw State, a fledgling FCS school that in year 3 and 4 of existence went to the quarterfinals of the FCS playoffs. And Newberry's defense, one reason why, and he was hired by Ken Niumatalolo to retool the Navy D. Second and 18, Book protected, staying in the pocket, waiting for somebody to come open. They don't. He runs. He gains 2. Paul Carruthers and Fagot, who we mentioned before, all over that. And it's 3rd and long for the Irish.
Well, it's a second down, but they already are out of down and distance. So on second long, zone coverage. Everyone blanketed, nowhere to go with the ball, but great pass protection. Ian Book, hold on to the ball as long as you can, get on the move, make a positive gain out of it. And like we said earlier, if he starts using his legs, he usually gets into a rhythm in the game.
Great look from that high sky camera. You could see everything was covered. Book did stay in the pocket, was patient, nothing open. 3rd and long. And Book this time will take off. His run with a block gets him across the 30, and Tony Jones Jr. helped spring him a yard shy of the first down to the 23. But Notre Dame will have a chance to go for it, a much more makeable 4th down here.
Again, 3rd and long. So now, 1st and 2nd down are the blitz packages. 3rd and long is zone. So Ian Book was patient in the pocket, gave it a good hard look, and then moved around, makes a great run out of it, and gets you close. Again, 3rd down and long now would be their bluff package and get out of there. 4th down.
They exchange all 3 tight ends, Cole Kmet, Brock Wright, and Tommy Tremble, from the right to the left, and Jones runs left to the center and has the 1st down. So the Irish pick up a 4th down conversion for the 12th time this year to keep this opening drive going. Kemi Niumatalolo's team was able to get Connecticut off the field right away and get the ball back and score and take an advantage when they deferred in their last game. Different style, different caliber offense here. Jones on the carry, and he'll move the pile down to the 17-yard line. But an injury-plagued season, no back has really jumped up and taken the running back spot with Notre Dame, whether it's Jones or Jafar Armstrong. Bunch of injuries, and nobody's really been the complete back yet.
Yeah, there have been times where start to run the ball, it looks like they're going to get that power running game going, and it just kind of stifles. Ian Book's been the leading rusher the last 2 games.
Virginia, the USC games, 100+ yards efforts for Jones. The best running back games of the season for the Irish. Into the hands of speedy Braden Lenzy. Turns the corner, turns it up inside the 10. 1st and goal at the 7-yard line. So Lenzy, who missed the Duke game, a bit fatigued, was back in the lineup here, and it's 1st and goal, Notre Dame.
Coming around on the reverse, Fagot saw it, takes the angle and just gets outrun. Sometimes pure athleticism beats you. Not necessarily fooled defensively, just outrun.
And Lenzy, as you know, if you've watched Notre Dame play this year, track star from Oregon, has shown that track speed a couple of times. At the 5th time he's run the ball for the Irish. 1st and goal in this opening drive, and Book crossing, Claypool, touchdown. For the 6th time this year, the senior Chase Claypool to the end zone.
Tony Jones with the blitz pickup, and then it's no contest versus safety Kevin Brennan. Claypool coming underneath, just outrunning him. Nice patience in the pocket, relaxed throw, but little switch release, which causes a safety to have to cover your top wide receiver.
Claypool continuing to pick up that pace here down the stretch of his final season in South Bend. Jonathan Dorr, extra point. And the Irish, who were so good on opening drives the last 2 years, have not been this year. Terrific on that one. 11 plays, 75 yards. And the senior from Abbotsford, British Columbia in Canada, Chase Claypool, takes it to the end zone for the opening score. Notre Dame football is brought to you by Today's Military. Learn about opportunities at todaysmilitary.com. By Jersey Mike's Subs, be a sub above. And by Bright House Financial, build for what's ahead. Hashtag ND roll call, send us your pictures. Got one more shot. Our last home game against Boston College that we'll show you. Look at this, a little tribute to Bob Ross. The students here are coming through. Next level. Post-Halloween, but a very sweet display nevertheless. And worthy of some TV time.
Any happy little trees?
Look at you, Doug. Artiste. Well, they like what the Irish were able to put on the canvas to open up. 11 plays and 75 yards on that opening drive for the 7-0 lead. Navy can't get into too deep an offensive hole, so important couple of drives coming up to start for Ken Niumatalolo's team. Jonathan Dorr will kick it. Garrett Wynn has been the most common return man for Navy this year, both on punts and kickoffs. It's 38 degrees, not a lot of wind, a slight breeze blowing on this cold day. Fair catch signaled by Wynn, so Navy will take over at its own 25-yard line. So here comes Navy, then triple option offense. The senior up front, Carruthers, does a really good job at the fullback spot. He has taken the place of Nelson Smith and taken off with that fullback spot. And Fort Higgins is a wonderful story. Doug, how about your 260-pound center? You talk about the definition of undersized, heart, soul, technique, and a leader on this team.
My high school's offensive line average is 285 back home. Yeah, he's a terror, though. He'll go up to the next level. He's very athletic at the center position.
He snaps it back to Malcolm Perry, the senior from Clarksville, Tennessee. Get it going from the 25-yard line. It'll fake to the right, come to the left, and got a couple of good blocks. Get across the 30, but lost the football. It was not whistled down. It looked like he was down, and now they're going to come back in. It was late on the whistle, but yeah, now we hear the whistle. The play is down at the 31, gain of 6.
Yeah, there's no doubt he's down on this. Knee is down anyway, and then the ground cannot cause the fumble anyway. He would be down there too. But again, first play, they go a counter play, misdirection, just in case Notre Dame's playing so hard for that triple option and all their responsibilities. First play is a change-up type of play, counter misdirection.
His knee was down. The ball was at the 30. It's spotted at the 31, 2nd and 4. And Perry's going to keep it, and that's what he does so well. It's the sleight of hand. It's the quickness of feet. 10 yards until Drew White makes the tackle. So he was a slot back. They moved him back and forth, Doug. They were bouncing him around, but told him after the Army game last year, look, you're the starting quarterback going into next season. He has taken it and run with it. 4th in touchdowns in terms of rushing, 5th in yards per game.
Embrace the position and be the team leader he is. I've just seen his change of direction on those first 2 plays. He had to stop, cut back on both of them. Just so elusive, and he's only about 185 pounds.
From the 41, those 2 slot backs and the fullback, and it's really a lot of Perry. That runner takes it for 8, maybe 9 yards, close to midfield on the carry. As you said, slight, 5'9" and 190. And he's now run it 160 times on the season. Game 9 for Navy season.
Well, that was a true triple option that time. And the first aspect of it is that dive give, and you defensively have to respect that and take that away, and it creates a little bit of space near the tackle box to outside for the quarterback to work. And Malcolm Perry he's like, coaches want to tell you that the shoulders are a certain way you pitch, the shoulders a certain way no, he says it's a feel. He reads the defender. It's almost like basketball, putting a move on him, fake, and just feel him out.
Timeout from the Navy sideline, called by Kenny Watalolo.
First charge on out of the half.
They like to bleed the clock and take their time. Getting close to the play clock there, so a timeout as well. And we've talked about the combination of Kramer and Hainsey, the 2 offensive linemen who were banged up. Tommy Kramer, pep rally last night, on the sideline today as Malcolm Perry runs for the first down into Notre Dame territory. And Drew White, who we really got to meet and learn in the game last year, played out in San Diego, is now the starter, made the tackle there.
These last 2 plays have been basically blocked for the quarterback to run the ball. Not true triple option. They're trying to get the ball in Malcolm Perry's hands a little more often, so go ahead and block it for the quarterback run.
It's the first time it is a give, and it is Jamel Carruthers up the middle with a good gain. A yard shot of the first down. Colin Kareem made the tackle, so the Irish guys up front, and they're missing one of their leaders. Jameer Jones gets his first start. He replaces Captain Julian Okwara, lost the season as he was injured last week. And sophomore linebacker Drew White, we mentioned before on that tackle, jumped on the radar this time last year. And it's an important game for the safeties to begin with, but very special for Alohi Gilman, who played his first season at Navy before transferring to Notre Dame. There's Clark Lee, who, as Catherine was mentioning to Brian Kelly, part of that sleepless coaching staff. So many hours trying to figure out how to stop guys like Carruthers on the run for a first down to the 34-yard line.
It's business as usual right now for this offense. Carruthers almost busted 1-2 plays ago. That one slicing in the secondary. Gilman's going to be running sideline to sideline. In the middle, he's going to be playing a lot lower than usual, probably about 7 yards in front of the umpire, and trying to go laterally to get the pitch, cover the whole field.
Such a neat game for him. Second opportunity to play against the school that he started at Navy. Miles Fells comes to the left, and they get, quote, behind the chains with a loss on first down. That always makes it tougher on a Navy offense. Asmar Bilal with the tackle.
So if you're playing the option straight, here's your safeties. They're inside. Here's your umpire that's normally down in here, but in front of them at about 7 to 10 yards. So now these guys are going laterally, perimeter-wise, they have to get to the boundary, have to be able to get the pitch back. Everyone is accounted for. That's why we saw a couple plays ago that fullback almost busting through the middle. There's no second level to this defense now. If you crease it offensively, you're gone.
See, Notre Dame has their second team defensive line in. Back to pass for the first time is Perry, but he likes to run on these called passes. He does there and is able to get himself to the 30-yard line, maybe the 29. So it's a positive gain for Perry as he scrambled out of trouble, setting up third and about 6.
Was it the last 3 games he's dropped back 41 times and they average 11 yards a play? He's only thrown it about 16 times and taken off and run all the others. He's just so quick and elusive up and through. I'm sure vision is an issue for him because he's not used to being a drop back passer and all this option stuff that he's used to being near the line of scrimmage. So when he drops back, if he doesn't see something right away, he's off.
Yeah, not a dynamic passer by any stretch. It has improved significantly, but the Notre Dame coaching staff pointed out when he does drop back in pass calls, he's been more of a threat running. And a timeout taken by Navy, so they've used 2.
Navy takes their second charge, time out and a half.
On this opening drive.
This is a 30-second timeout.
But take a look at the clock. We're already under 5 minutes. It's been 1 possession per team.
And that was the hope of Brian Kelly, that they were not long drives and you really limit what happens on the offensive side. We're talking about the prowess of Malcolm Perry. He's at Navy, but there's Army in the family blood. Both his mom and dad, Bonnie and Malcolm Sr., 40 combined years in the U.S. Army. And he went on his visit and he just really fell in love with the Naval Academy. So Mom and Dad, as tough as it is for 2 decades-long Army folk, very proudly wear the Navy garb. Certainly it's easier to do until the Army-Navy game, where one parent is fine with it, the other parent's a little bit tougher time.
I was looking at the Navy shirt there, and I'm thinking that's what Malcolm said, yeah. But Dad's got the loyalty to Army a little bit too much.
Right, especially that Army-Navy week, but not the other games. He loves what his son has done. He's become the 3rd leading rusher in the history of the Naval Academy. Here trying to pick up 3rd and 5. He's keeping it, and that one was snuffed out. Only going to gain a yard or 2. Osmar Bilal got down there and made that initial key contact. The 4th down is right in the purview of Navy to go for it here from the 27, needing only 2.5, maybe 3 yards.
Malcolm Perry pulls the ball, expects to have an opportunity. Watch Tango Veloa-Mosa get shifted and drive. He's just got that shiftiness to him, makes him miss. He's one-on-one. It should be a 3-yard loss. Nah, see ya. He's on the ground and up through and created a makeable 4th down or a go-for-it 4th down situation.
See how often they go and how often they get it. Needing to get to the 24. 4th and 3. Perry will keep, slithers through the traffic, and the spot will determine how to get right to the 24-yard line. Head linesman is running in and says he's got it. And it is a 1st down for Navy. Jim Casey, the head linesman, had it on his side. Said he got to the 24, and that keeps this drive going.
4th down, a lot of quarterback runs. He's going to follow fullback, but feels the crease to the inside and just gets the 1st down. A great feel. A guy that's 185 pounds is their short yardage runner a lot. A lot of quarterback sneaks near the goal line. A lot of quarterback follows where he just trails the back after the fake.
From that high sky cam, looked like he came down with the point of the ball right at the 24. Looks like a good call. Navy keeps the drive going, and a fumble here is recovered by Bilal, caused by Khalid Kareem. Perry was ready to pitch it. The long arm of Kareem forced the fumble, and the Irish have recovered as Navy drives it deep but turns it over on their first effort of the day. Khalid Kareem has seen a couple of his running mates at defensive end go down this year, but he made a big play to knock it away. And Notre Dame gets the day's first turnover. Kareem forcing that turnover.
Yeah, one thing to watch out for today, guys, and I know we've talked about it, the 6-man front for Notre Dame. Not having to think too much, just shoot gaps. Instead of playing on your heels, trying to read everything, just cause havoc, play from a position of power. Something to watch out for as the game goes on, guys.
And the athletic ability of Kareem splitting the guard and the tackle at those big splits there, and Perry was just getting ready to flip it to Chance Warren, who can throw the ball and has thrown the ball this year. So the first turnover belongs to Notre Dame. They get it into Lawrence Key's hands. Number 13 for the Irish turns the corner and gets across the 40-yard line. Hit hard, and a flag comes in at the back end of that one. It's a gain of 13. Kevin Brennan hit him. It looks like he was on the white when he did hit him.
After the play was over, dead ball, they hit out of bounds. Defense, number 10. 15-yard penalty added to the end of the run, automatic. First down.
And sophomore from Don Bosco Prep, terrific high school in New Jersey, said, really, me? It was clear. 1 foot already on the white. Easy call, and that'll take the Irish to the midshipman side of midfield. 26 total on the flag and the game. So from the 47, Book's got 4 in the pattern. Down the middle. Claypool, number 2. Touchdown, Notre Dame. Chase Claypool again.
On the last touchdown, Tony Jones was in pass protection. This time he has to come across the formation to pick up his blitz responsibility. Standing firm in the pocket, deliver a strike. If Notre Dame can continue to pick up these blitzes, one-on-one matchups are in their favor at the receiver position. They'll make big plays all day.
Yeah, Tyler Pistorius, a senior weak side linebacker. You're not going to cover a top 30, top 40-ish pick in the NFL draft. Very potentially in Chase Claypool's ability and what he has shown, and he is on fire. 47 yards there, 40 longer than the first one. Notre Dame has touched the ball twice. Chase Claypool's taken it to the end zone twice. 14-0 early Notre Dame. Styles get 2 for 1. That's live across the country, 11:30 Eastern, 8:30 Pacific, later tonight here on NBC. Picturesque day, although a bit brisk here in the shadow of the Golden Dome at Notre Dame Stadium, where the Irish have jumped out to a quick 2-touchdown lead. Chase Claypool, 2 touchdown receptions, the last 3 Notre Dame snaps. Fair catch called for by Garrett Wynn. They'll take it out to the 25. We take you back to the pressure that sometimes can break you.
Well, this winds up being a blitz zone. They're bringing the pressure off this side, expecting to get somebody home free. And you roll this corner up and go over the top, hoping he has to throw. Instead, you come across and pick it up. Now you don't have to throw. You got time to hold on to it. And there's Pistorius, a linebacker, having to run with Chase Claypool down the middle of the field.
They're going to have to be careful with Chase Claypool, Tommy Tremble, and Cole Kmet. They don't have the type of athletes that look like you can match up with them, guys.
Notre Dame big men, 2 tight ends, 1 receiver. The keeper for Perry, who runs it for 4 yards here on first down. So, guys, it's been 12 plays for Navy, 12 runs, 9 of them from Malcolm Perry. So, you know what we were saying when we were selling you that he is the offense.
They've done what they wanted to on offense, Navy. They're grinding it out, moving the football. They end up turning it over by a guy shooting the gap and stripping the ball. But right now, they got to feel good about what they're doing on offense.
The problem is their margin for error is small.
So small.
Because you get in a hole here, it's very hard to dig out. They've played from the lead most of this season. Keeper here, Perry, 2 guys there to get him, and he slithers away from that ankle tackle to gain 9 and get a first down.
Well, Drew White shoots the gap and is on the run. They can't even really run their option because Perry's just running away from somebody. Watch Drew White chase. He's coming through, and he's like, oh, I can't pitch it, I can't do anything. And then he ends up almost on his feet with green grass.
Yeah, Sean Crawford missed him. Finally, Alohi Gilman and Jalen Elliott barely get him, or else he's off. There he is from the 38 with a give that time to the 42-yard line. The fullback give to Jamel Carruthers. Carruthers is a really interesting story. It almost sounds like you're making a mistake when you say it. He started the year on the JV. Literally. I mean, Navy still has a junior varsity program that will play on some Fridays, and Carruthers started on the JV. This is Mr. Football in Kentucky back in 2016, but was so eye-popping with his speed, and you continue to develop players. And Kennedy Mazzalola said, let's try him over here at the varsity. It's been pretty good, as you can see. To the middle this time, to the 25-yard line. It'll be 3 yards to gain on this third down as we get towards a minute here in the opening quarter.
Talk about Carruthers. I went back and watching games, and the Tulsa game, all of a sudden he's in there. Right. It's like, where'd this guy come from? He popped 3 long runs for touchdown. They ran a little pass play where he slipped off his guy that was supposed to be blitzing and dumped it to him for a touchdown pass. Explosive.
That was his first real action. Now look over to the sideline. Ken Niamatololo has his hands on the wheel. The head coach will send along the adjustment here that gets signaled in. And Perry will keep it and get the first down. It's past the 48-yard line. Chris Sims, you're at field level. We've all watched a lot of Malcolm Perry here. What's it like to watch him in person?
Well, his acceleration really pops out. It reminds me of a guy I played against in college who's still just in the NFL, Darren Sproles. That's what it looks like. It's 0 to 60 in about 3 steps.
And Darren Sproles just announcing on IR this week in an Instagram post that he had during the week kind of indicated that was the end of an incredible run. But you're right, that Sproles speed always caught you when you watched him in person. 1st and 10 for the Navy at their own 48. Perry quick pitch that time, and Carruthers, that's usually not where he does his damage on the outside. Drew White, called often here in this opening quarter, makes the play. That'll bring us to the end of the first. So Navy's running okay, 17 times, 71 yards. But Notre Dame's thrown 2 touchdowns to Chase Claypool. 14-0 Irish after 1. And we're back at Notre Dame Stadium after these messages from your local station. So glad you're with us on this Saturday. You're watching Notre Dame football on NBC.
To this game and have them honored by the 70,000+ fans in attendance here, Mike.
Absolutely, Catherine. So well done. Thank you. Second quarter begins with Malcolm Perry looking to throw on the move, and he is brought down by Jeremiah Usu-Koromoa, and it will be a loss on the play of 3 yards.
Very well defended, and Usu-Koromoa has that speed that I just felt like Malcolm Perry was holding the ball there, taking a look and just watching, because he knew he could outrun anybody. And so he's just taking his time. And now I'm going to accelerate and go, and all of a sudden I can't outrun him.
Well, you see why he's so good. I mean, these are some difference-making players, the likes of which, candidly, Navy has not seen as many of. 6, Usu-Koromoa, 22, Asmar Bilal. They're able to get off those blocks like he did and make those eraser plays. 3rd and 13. Option ball on the ground again. It's recovered by Jameer Jones for the Irish. Colin Kareem was right at the ball again. He's forced a second fumble, and Navy's turned it over on its first 2 possessions.
Kareem using his hands, plays off the block of the center, and just reaches out, reaches out and slaps it out of the hands. Malcolm Perry had thought, okay, I'm already to the next phase of this. I'm going to cut it north and south. Just a reach out. It's like a basketball strip.
Colin Kareem's on his way to player of the game on the defensive side of the ball. 18 plays. Navy has run a couple of turnovers, both forced by Kareem. And Jameer Jones, replacing Julian Okwara in the starting lineup, comes up with the recovery. Sibo Flemister's the running back for the Irish. Book on first down, looking to stay hot. Underthrown, but caught by Chris Fink. He might have scored if that ball was in the proper place. Still, it's a big gain on first down.
A little misdirection. This is a play that Navy would probably run. Start one way, throw back the other way, and it works like a charm. Ian Book wishes he'd just taken a fraction of a second longer to deliver that strike.
Gain is 15. Irish looking to put Navy in a huge hole here early on. The 24, Book surveys as Claypool one more time. Inbounds Claypool, spinning right there at the 10-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal, and Chase Claypool really dominating his matchup so far.
He has turned it up in the last few games. It's just amazing. All the one-on-one balls down the rails on the fade routes, he go up and get it and make some amazing catches. And after he catches the ball, he does not want to go down.
He talked about it earlier this year. I do not want to be tackled. Book is going to keep trying to do his own Malcolm Perry to the 3, a gain of 7 as he's hit hard by Paul Carruthers, captain for the midshipmen.
No doubt this is Notre Dame's version of the option is the zone read and the pull. And again, we said earlier, really gets Ian Book into the flow of the game when he tucks it under and takes off.
at the 3, as you see Book in his tone setting for running. Let's see if they come down right by where Chris Sims is over there with Claypool at the bottom of the screen, who already has 2 touchdowns. Book, Claypool, hat trick, touchdown Notre Dame.
But just an unfair advantage. Way off inside is Kinley. Just wait for the ball and go get it like a rebound, pull it in. It just, and strong hands. Kinley's not in bad position. He can make a play. He's aggravating, trying to get a hand in there. Stays with it, a little double clutch, and catch that out in your fingertips.
And Kinley did a great job, and Claypool securing it and showing everyone that he has come down with yet another touchdown. Extra point. Jonathan Dorr knocks it through. The last 6 plays run by Notre Dame, 3 of them Chase Claypool touchdowns, and the Irish have a 3-touchdown lead early on against Navy. Microsoft Surface by U.S. Bank. Unlock your possible. And by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800 State Farm. Everybody gets their chance to touch the play like a champion today sign, and they've got their own way of doing it. And hey, this guy's done it a few times. EQ, Equanimous St. Brown, a couple of terrific years here with the Irish. Now on the injured list with the Green Bay Packers. That in the north end of the end zone, looking in that direction towards the Word of Life mural. Well, Khalid Kareem and Chase Claypool have been standouts in this game. Kareem, back-to-back possessions, knocking it away from Malcolm Perry.
Being aggressive, and Clark Lee talked about, even if we make mistakes today, I want guys going full speed and hitting gaps, penetrating, make a difference. Don't be catching and sitting back and reading. Stay aggressive.
That's on defense. Claypool on offense has been terrific as well.
Well, we're used to seeing him make contested catches, but today, a mismatch, just pure athleticism and size. Gets an opportunity to see some man coverage and runs away from man coverage in both occasions. But then you get a zone blitz. The ball should be gone because you think you're going to get to the quarterback. Gets matched up on a linebacker down the middle of the field. Again, under routes that they're switching off and ends up a linebacker. But the ability to make these plays is where he has separated himself. Those fade routes, down the sidelines, long passes, and down on the goal line.
And Notre Dame's defensive line really playing well. Perry stopped by Jason. Ademilola got on the other side of the line of scrimmage. And there's a loss of 4 on first down. There's the math on Claypool. We talked about the open, those 2 hot games he had against Virginia Tech and Duke. And Chris, 3 touchdowns on 3 drives here today.
Guys, Chase Claypool has injected himself into the first-round wide receiver conversation for the NFL draft. Always been a first-round athlete, but now he's playing like legit receiver nuances. That's really impressive.
Straight drop by Perry, and he is sacked. He was flushed and stepped right into Oguofo, who comes up with now a first full sack in his Notre Dame career. Usu Koromoa with the pressure.
Coming off the edge and around, it's just pure speed. And turning the corner, athleticism. You know, Malcolm Perry is used to being able to run away from defenders and slip out and slide. There's some top-notch athletes on this Notre Dame defense. And now, being down, it's so hard for Navy to do the things they want to do and grind it out and try to stay in that rhythm.
That's Jason Ademilola, who got hit. Almost a little bit of a whiplash after Usu Koromoa came flying in to make that play. We've seen a couple of Notre Dame players who have been injured this year as fellow teammates have come around the edge and they've gotten legs trapped or made contact with. And they're looking at Ademilola, the sophomore from New Jersey, 4-star recruit, as they continue to seek depth, Doug, in the middle of that Notre Dame line behind the 2 starters, Myron Tagovailoa-Amosa and Kurt Heinisch. See what happens here.
Timeout on the
A
field.
little bit of a leg whip coming around the corner.
Yep, getting him on the left leg as Usu Koromoa came around with speed. So Notre Dame athletic training staff will help Jason off the field. Not a bunch of experience inside there for the Irish. A couple of freshmen, Jacob Lacey and Howard Cross III. Seeing most of the backup time behind the two starters up front, Tagovailoa, Amosa, and Heinisch. Brian Kelly's seen his team lose, think about it, 4 key linemen, a couple on the offensive side, as mentioned earlier, a couple on the defensive side. Jamion Franklin, sophomore from Ridgely, Maryland, now in the lineup for the Irish. And on the inside, Myron Tagovailoa, Amosa with a big play. Stop. And it'll set up 4th down.
Well, this is, I think, a misread by Perry, because this is your unblocked guy. You should pull this ball out and take off like he usually does, but closes it down from the backside. So just being active and going at it with aggressiveness, not being hesitant. We've seen this Notre Dame team in years past at times being so passive that the Navy offense just takes it to them.
Owen White's been a very good kicker in his 3 years here. 43 on that one. Fink back at the 39 to catch it. Trying to pick up space to the left side. Couple of flags down as Fink turns it up the field, up the sideline. Fink taking off, going all the way for a touchdown. But as I mentioned, 2 flags thrown on that far side. If it held up, it would have been 62 yards. But the celebration has ended.
During the return, illegal block in the back, receiving team number 26. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. 1st down, Notre Dame. Timeout on the field.
So let's take a peek. Timotopé Agoro right there. Push in the back. Got in the way. Terry McCauley, our officiating analyst, says, okay. Chicago Wednesday, 3 riveting stories. Chicago Med, Chicago Fire, Chicago PD. Don't miss your Chicago Wednesday right here on NBC. It's cold in Chicago and South Bend and all around the Great Lakes. Whole bunch of snow. It's mid-November, not yet. The leaves weren't even off the trees. Irish, great start. 3 drives, 3 Chase Claypool touchdowns. This one starts at the 30. Home run ball for another one. It's Lindsay. He's gone. 70 yards, and the Irish are on fire.
So the answer in pass protection versus blitz is watch the slide here and protection that way. Zone it off, pick up the guy that comes your way, protect the gaps. Give Ian Book plenty of time, and oh my goodness, best throw of the season by far. Just lays it out there in stride, pure speed. Lindsay, track star, running it down. That was a beautiful, beautiful throw.
Involving those safeties in coverage. Kevin Brennan's a good one, but you can't keep up with a high school track star in Braden Lindsay. And Jonathan Doerr's extra point. That is 4 touchdowns in the last 8 plays for the Irish. And they lead 28-0. Ian Book, another 4 touchdown game. He's had a bunch of them this year.
In the first half.
Yes, exactly. You think about the Notre Dame game against Bowling Green and against New Mexico as well. And here he is one more time. We talked about Lindsay, the track and field star from 15 minutes south of Portland, Oregon. He had the 6th fastest 200 time in the history of the state of Oregon, 21.3 seconds. And getting himself on the football field when Willie Taggart was the Oregon coach. That's where he thought he was going to go. Taggart left Florida State, which is obviously short-lived, didn't make it through 2 seasons, and Lindsay opened up the recruitment, ends up here. Didn't play against Duke, as I said earlier, because of fatigue. He's rested.
Well, Brennan was playing off and trying to play it safe and give him a cushion, and he just closed the cushion, ran by him. It's one of those guys you can't out-throw. I played with Willie Galt way back with the Chicago right? Bears. Yeah. And I remember winding up and just throwing it as far as I could. No matter how far you threw it, he could run it down.
Deep kick and the touchback. PFF Inside the Numbers presented by Amazon Web Services. It has not been the start that Malcolm Perry hoped for, but just give you a sense of what Malcolm Perry has been doing during this year. An idea of what Notre Dame's done so well. He's so hard to tackle. Most missed tackles forced by any FBS quarterback, and the most runs of 10 yards or more. But he has done it against the competition in the American Conference. He has one 10-yard run here today, but overall Notre Dame's done a good job.
They've held him to under 3 yards per carry, but he has made people miss. I mean, you know, there's just a lot of defenders coming free, and he's outmanned.
Spin and turn and flip it to Taj Malloy getting to the edge. And a good gain there by Malloy. Escorted to the Notre Dame sideline by Tariq Bracy at the 35-yard line. So we talk about Navy and this offense that's not made to score quick and catch up, as another Irish player is injured on the play in college. Kareem is the one who's down for Notre Dame. He's had an exceptional start to this one with his 2 forced fumbles.
Defensive end position for Notre Dame this season, starting with the beginning of the year all the way through now. 3 major defensive ends have been banged up.
Dalen Hayes,
Dalen Hayes was the name I was trying to pull up.
And lost for the season with a torn labrum. And Julian Aquara broke his fibula last week. And Chris, this is a very difficult game for defensive linemen as well because of the cut blocking that you see from Navy. It's a week they've got to pay attention all the time. Let's watch Kareem here.
Something in the way he went to the ground because he wasn't hit.
From the 35, Perry on the give inside. Just about 2 yards for Jamel Carruthers, sophomore from Bowling Green, Kentucky.
As you said, this is a game where offensive linemen are getting up the field in a hurry and trying to cut people off. And undersized offensive linemen go at the knees a lot. And it is usually a game that Notre Dame comes out of beat up.
Started to say Navy not used to being down. They have led 92% of the season. Only trailed for 39 minutes in building this 7-1 record. Perry keeps inside. Slithers away from Kyle Hamilton, the safety, was coming in for the tackle. And get out to the 40-yard line.
But that play was well blocked, and he did what he was supposed to do. Correct read. It's just Kyle Hamilton and the safeties for Notre Dame are so close to the line of scrimmage, it's a minimal gain.
You mentioned it earlier, the umpire's back 10 yards deep, and there's all 11 Notre Dame defenders within 8 yards of the line of scrimmage. Third and 5, and Perry keeps. He'll get 4 yards. Howard crossed the 3rd, the freshman from Paramus, New Jersey, on the top of the pile.
Navy is not going to change their approach. They'll continue to try to grind it out and just be as competitive as possible, especially with the way Notre Dame's offense has moved the ball.
Jumping quick on 4th and 1, and then take a look over, see how the Irish are set up, see if they can keep a drive going. Navy has picked up 7 first downs, but a couple of turnovers have changed the texture of this game early. Perry stringing it out. Hamilton got it. Kyle Hamilton, the sensational freshman, brings down the elusive quarterback in the open field, and the Irish will take over on downs.
Well, Kyle Hamilton is the deep safety on this and just eyeing the quarterback and trying to mirror him. Malcolm Perry had to believe he was going to get on the edge. No doubt about it, all the way.
And Hamilton gets his man, and the Irish will take over at the Navy 43. 4 touchdowns in 4 drives. On downs, Navy turns it over, so the Irish on top 28-0, taking over in great field position. Doug, you said it in the break. Kendi and Matalolo almost had to go for it there.
Absolutely. The way Notre Dame's moved the football, you have to try to continue to move it and gain possession of that ball and keep it away from the Notre Dame offense. So he had to go for it, even though he was in his own end.
Ian Book with an 8 for 9 start, 193 yards and 4 touchdowns. And although guys have been open, he has been terrific, throwing the deep ball a couple of times here in this first half. Continuing on in the second quarter, Sibo Flemister back in the lineup, and he gets the edge. And Flemister out to the 31-yard line. He gets a first down and a gain of 12. Kevin Brennan the tackle.
He showed a little bit last week. He runs with toughness, low to the ground, physical, down on the goal line, has broken tackles before. Got a little more action a couple of weeks ago.
5'11", 200 pounds, sophomore. He's picking up that pass pro part of the game, which is something that will allow young players to stay on the field a bit longer. His throw to Lawrence Keys is complete. And to the 25, it'll be a pickup of 6 on first down.
So you think maybe we'll see a little more zone on first and second down now? That's what it appears now. Now you're in just a preservation mode. Let's keep things in front of us a little bit. Force Notre Dame to march the ball rather than the one big play. Maybe you come up with a turnover.
Jafar Armstrong in the backfield. And after the fake, he's got it to the 17-yard line. Armstrong couldn't gain his balance. Jair Cromartie, the captain, knocked him down. You mentioned the defense and what Brian Newberry had done. All that aggressive stuff had been working so well, but not today.
You're just running against exceptional athletes that are going to win the one-on-one matchups, and he hasn't been able to get anybody home to the quarterback with all the movement and blitzing. So here again, we see zone coverage.
And Flemister run to the left. Forward progress to the 15-yard line, just to pick up the 3, whistled down.
But Newberry's done a phenomenal job. I mean, the numbers show all the way down the line in every scenario, every situation, from points to yards. Just really has done a great job of keeping offenses off balance. A lot of Bill Belichick type stuff where guys are walking around and you don't know who's coming and who isn't. And you can blitz and drop out on the backside and come up with interceptions. Perkins had an interception, you know, as a defensive end. So they do some different things. There's the movement again.
At the 15th, Flemister tries to get the edge and we get about a half yard. Chris, that was interesting you said that. You thought that as you studied Navy's tape that this was as good a defense as you saw in terms of how they were coached?
Definitely. I mean, just the little things they do. And Doug just hit on it. Some of the blitzing, people dropping out of the blitzes, underneath coverages. But when you get gashed the way they did here early on, you bring a cornerback blitz, and then Braden Lenzy hits for a deep post on a safety one-on-one, or Chase Claypool gets caught on a middle linebacker down the middle of the field. That is going to make a defensive coordinator simplify. But you guys heard me in the meeting the other day. I walked in, I said, has Bill been helping these guys?
Meaning Bill Belichick. See some of those traits defensively. Book on the keep here. Gets back to the line of scrimmage. Diego Fagot on the tackle. And it'll bring up fourth down. It'll bring on Jonathan Dorr. And to that point, of course, you have the connection over the years of Bill Belichick and his dad, Steve, longtime assistant at the Naval Academy, his late father. And it's helped Ken Niumatalolo gain a good relationship with Bill Belichick. And he discussed some philosophical things with Belichick as he was trying to figure out what kind of a defensive coordinator to bring in. And Newberry's stuff has worked to this point. This has worked to this point this year. Jonathan Dorr, 7 of 9 on field goals so far. This from 32. And he knocks it through. So the Irish are 5-4-5 in terms of scores on their drives here today. And Brian Kelly's team up big in the second.
No doubt.
Do the deal?
No doubt.
Yeah. We'll go on the field. Kurt Heinrich also coming up in the State Farm
He won't complain about the cold weather.
halftime report and scores and highlights in the other college football games going on. Trying to get an update on Tua Tagovailoa and his injury. All coming up State Farm halftime. Liam and I guess Chris will make it for the halftime report. It's a bouncing kick. And it will be brought back just to the 18-yard line by Garrett Wynn. Can't get out to the 20-yard line. Doug, your impressions of what we've seen from Notre Dame taking control of this game and not letting what Navy normally does eliminate what the Irish do best.
Well, I really felt offensively Notre Dame would do their thing and score points. But actually, Navy came out and looked like they might be able to grind the ball a little bit. It's the turnover. So the aggressiveness of getting penetration is the difference. Make a play and just disrupt in the backfield. And that's where 2 turnovers have come from and shutting down the Navy offense.
It's such a tough week, as Brian Kelly told us, and Clark Lee, the defensive coordinator for Notre Dame, told us. Harry pressured, Gets away from one. Paul Moala almost had him. Drew White comes across the field. And Perry turns what would have been a sack for a bunch of other quarterbacks into a gain on first down.
Yeah, I don't care about the score. This kid's electric. He just makes things happen, and he carries his team. He makes play after play, and they're not going to quit fighting no matter what the score is. I mean, this should have been a 15-yard loss.
Instead, Malcolm Perry gains 3. Lost the ball again, and Drew White has it. 3 turnovers for Navy in this first half. They fumbled 8 times all season with all of their ball handling. Usually very good taking care of it. But the quick hands of the Irish have made a difference here in this first half.
Well, Tango Valoa mostly getting in there to mix it up, and Malcolm Perry's either leaving it or pulling it. We talked about mesh point stuff, and this scares me to death as a quarterback, whether you're putting the ball in or not and pulling it out. And he hits the fullback on the hip as he's pulling it out, probably trying to rush. Again, it's the pressure. It's get after the quarterback, make him make that decision quicker than he is comfortable making it, and the ball winds up on the ground for the 3rd time.
And the Irish take over in great field position one more time. And it's Tony Jones Jr. running it inside the 20 to the 19-yard line. You mentioned that mesh point in the option, and you talked to Ivan Jasper, the longtime offensive coordinator for Navy, about just that point, that they usually don't have those mistakes.
They don't, because they like Malcolm Perry to get his feet in the ground and stay there. And when the ball gets to your front foot, you put it in the belly. Once you get to the front foot, it's either left or pulled. A lot of quarterbacks in some option football ride over the front foot and lean into the line a little and take a little longer.
From the 19, it's Jones one more time. He'll be a yard shy of the first down. 3rd down coming up, 3.5 until the half.
But again, with penetration into the backfield and all the ball handling that has to go on, if you're going to make a mistake, and Clark Lee told us, if we're going to make mistakes, let's make them at full speed and make something happen, because we have the athletes to make plays.
Now, you're Doug, and you're right. You're all over it. Jameer Jones, Khalid Kareem, Osmar Bilal, they haven't seen players like this all year. And I think it's making the game almost speed up for Malcolm Perry right now, where he just feels a little uncomfortable with the mesh point, as you're mentioning.
Notre Dame record for touchdown receptions in a game is 4. Maurice Stovall. Claypool has 3 so far. They're going to run here on 3rd down, and Tony Jones will get it to the 12-yard line. So the Irish keep the drive going with 2:40 until halftime and 31-0 ND.
I say you run Tony Jones and give him some rewards for all the pass pickup he's had so far, right? He's made a nice job on his side of the formation, and then reading the secondary blitz coming from the right side, came across and picked up on a nice post route for a touchdown. So give him the ball.
4 touchdowns on the year, now over 600 yards. Here is Book surveying and getting Claypool, who's hit after a gain of only a couple. That's Jacob Springer, who plays a hybrid position that they call striker, and he's been involved in a lot. Tackles for loss, leads the team in sacks, 3rd leading tackler. He's everywhere on this Navy defense.
Yeah, he's the guy that can be a linebacker position or, be in the cover, and then they have another defensive end that is kind of a hybrid position to be a defensive end, be a linebacker, and that makes him so multiple defensively.
2nd and 7, crowding the line, bringing the heat. Book puts it up top. In the back, Komet couldn't bring it down. Cole Komet battling with Kevin Brennan. That's incomplete. Cole Komet has a buddy on this Navy defense who's trying to get the better of here today.
Well, here's an overload blitz that gets home, so Book's got to put it up off the back foot. But again, it's a 50-50 ball. Great coverage by Brennan. Staying on another big receiver, trying to make a play.
Nice play.
That's a ball Komet saying, okay, I would have landed out of bounds, but maybe I should have caught it and then landed out of bounds.
Jackson Perkins, who plays for Navy, Cole Komet, were teammates going back to their youth football days, share the field here today. 3rd and 7. Book didn't like the first look. He's taken off. He's going end zone, a step out of bounds, but he's very close to the first down. First down is available there at the 2. Michael McMorris showed him to the sideline. But Ian's got it. It'll be 1st and goal for the Irish.
Tony Jones is working his tail off in pass pro. The line slides to the left again by a slide protection. Everybody just stays hip to hip and you protect gaps. So all these exotic blitzes and movement, you just wait for someone to come your way and you pick them up. No one's turned free.
Irish quick to the line. Book rolls. Incomplete for Tommy Tremble. sophomore tight end from Jones Creek, Georgia, who has 3 TD receptions on the year.
Newberry has to stop blitzing and going after the quarterback. Everybody loose. Blitz coverage, the last couple of plays, going after it still.
No matter the outcome today, and we'll detail this in the second half, Navy still has a lot to play for in this season. Saw the Irish do this on the 4th down conversion earlier. Jones straight ahead, put the football out, left it exposed. They're going to call him down at the 1 and no fumble. Paul Carruthers made the tackle, and the ruling on the field is down shy of the goal line inside the 1.
Paul Carruthers steps up and through unblocked. And here's a collision. I mean, as a tailback, a lot of tailbacks want that space. I'm one-on-one. I got a shot.
Terry McCauley, is he on the back of Carruthers, thus breaks the plane?
Mike, it's tough to tell from the angles we've seen so far. He may very well be on the player and not have his knee down.
Of the runner down prior to the ball coming loose is under further review.
Well, Tony Jones has given his own review looking at the scoreboard video board. He thinks he's in. Let's watch again. And Terry, walk us through this as his knee comes down. Where does it come down? On the player is the question, right?
We haven't seen a shot yet with his knee down, that's for sure. Is it indisputable so far? This might be our best shot.
Gotta look at this one earlier.
He's not down. Looks like a touchdown, Mike.
Yep.
See, they did reward him.
Right, they were trying to. And then he
earned that.
Leaned that ball out.
I think after taking that hit, though, Tony might say, I'll take the pass protection.
He said it right away. He's telling everybody who listen he's got a touchdown. He has conducted his own personal review. Taking the plaudits of Trevor Rulin, the starting right guard. Feeling as though he has his 5th touchdown of the year.
That pass protection stuff is a thankless job, though. He's hitting fullback. Fullback has to, or running back has to step up and hit linebackers, defensive ends. Someone coming running full speed with a 5 to 7 yard run at you, and stick your nose in there so your quarterback can get rid of the ball. So hand them the football. Get down the red zone. Hand them the football. Let them get in the end zone.
Jones went to IMG Academy down there in St. Petersburg, Florida, where he is from. IMG a little north of that. All right, we synced up a couple of the replays just to get a peek at as it was happening in terms of crossing the plane and where his knee was.
Yeah, Mike, we see him in complete control of the football until the ball gets down on the goal line. And we see from our other shot, the knee's not down at all. No body part is on the ground. So this is a touchdown.
Yep, that stitches the 2 replays together. Our officials are from the American Conference. Replay is from the ACC. And this is the last year we'll have split conferences where one does the on-field, one does the replay. So maybe they're not speaking the same language.
After further review, the ruling on the field is that the runner had control of the ball and was not down before he placed the ball across the goal line. The result of the play is a touchdown.
The delayed celebration on those.
Did you get the explanation there?
Absolutely. It made perfect sense. So Jones is in. The Irish have scored on their first 6 drives, 5 touchdowns and a field goal. And Jonathan Dorr here to make it 38-0. Dominating first half. Back in 90 seconds here in South Bend, and what's been a great start for the Irish.
Those gaps up and allowing Ian Book to stand there. He knew if he had time to throw, he was going to find guys, and Chase Claypool's having a heck of a night. Claypool,
the first 3 touchdowns. Braden Lenzy, a 70-yarder, so 4 Ian Book touchdown passes. Jonathan Dorr, field goal. Tony Jones. So you got to pick it up because no fair catch was called. The ball bounced in the field of play. So they brought out shy of the 20 out of the 17-yard line where Garrett Wynn stopped, and Malcolm Perry will take over here as they reset the game clock to 1:24. So that brigade of midshipmen who made the trip, about 500 as Liam McHugh said, made the drive. not the half they were hoping to see after that long drive.
But with their daily commitments, they're still happy to be out.
Break, right? That is so true. It is a start to finish day from early in the morning all the way through, and the football players have football worked in around it. Meeting time, back to classes, then a very efficient practice. That pass knocked down and rejected. Bufo getting there again, so he's been a part of this with the injuries. More guys seeing more time on that defensive end spot.
Great unblocked guy. I hate throwing hot routes through unblocked defenders. I always like drifting away from those defenders and try and throw those hitch routes to the other side. Although this wasn't, it was a miss in protection.
Converted linebacker Ogofu at 6'3", 230. Showing the hops there from Lathrop Village. Metro Detroit, Michigan. There's a pass completed. First one for Navy. And that's a Michael Cooper, who's the top receiver. Sophomore from San Antonio, Texas, we had a chance to visit with this week at the academy.
There's a nice little roll to the left, throw a comeback route. Cooper's he's an explosive receiver now. He's not getting his chances to hold. He got 9 catches all year, but boy, he's explosive.
He averages 27 yards a catch. Usually you catch him by surprise. It's wide open. He got 14 there. Irish show the blitz on that hard count, so Malcolm Perry on to plan B. Irish backed out of the blitz from the 32. It is complete for 7 yards to CJ Williams.
Look at this. Shotgun, throwing the football, looking comfortable. It's not Navy's forte by any stretch. In fact, when they're in a 2-minute offense, usually they're still running triple option.
Well, they did that late in a game to come from behind, final minute and a half, and it's the panic to trying to get down, especially that Air Force game, trying to get the field goal to win the game. They're moving it down the field on the run. Ended up kicking the field goal and then scored a touchdown on defense on the final play of the game to win. Jamel Carruthers with nowhere to go. And he is thrown down by Myron Tungavalo-Amosa. And Navy will take its final timeout of this half with 1:07 to go.
Navy takes their third and final
You talked about the schedule for these Navy football players. Let's just take Malcolm Perry, for example, a senior here, and get an idea of what the day is like, from treatment at 6 a.m. and breakfast. Then you start with the classes and his significant class load in his final year in Annapolis. Then lunch, and lunch is quick with football meetings around that, but then right back to class. You get a little bit of free time, and of course when we're there we took some of the free time to visit with Malcolm Perry. Appreciative of that. The practice, the weights, dinner, study, and then lights out at midnight. It's a busy day. We got a chance. What a visit it was to Annapolis, Doug. Enjoyed our trip so much.
So cool. The history there, the people you meet, everyone's eyes on you. We had a chance to speak to the team.
What a thrill, huh?
Eyes forward looking at us. I mean, attention, and to dine. What, over 4,000 in less than 20 minutes?
In King Hall there. There's Perry on the run, and Perry escapes. Chased by Troy Pride, who finally gets to him at the 16-yard line. But you see the speed that Malcolm Perry has as he was able to pull away for Navy's biggest gain of the day, 38 yards.
A lot of these plays are not option. They're being blocked for the quarterback to run, and Malcolm Perry sifts his way through and takes off. Troy Pride is the only guy on the team that could run him down.
That's pretty good speed for Pride. They're going to mark him up at the 16, not on the other side of the 20. So we'll make that gain officially 46 yards. So final 55 seconds. And it'll be just a gain of a yard here for Perry. Again, Navy out of timeouts. They brought in Nelson Smith, who was the starting fullback for the first half of the season. He's number 43. Listening to Perry's instructions.
Out of timeouts.
Half minute. Perry tucks it, keeps it. Kurt Heinisch, who you'll see a little behind the scenes with him at halftime, stops him at the 11. Now 20 seconds left and third down. No timeouts, as you said.
He may spike the ball and just kick the field goal on fourth.
Down to 10 seconds left in this first half. And Perry's going to try to throw for it as it's deflected, and it's incomplete. They were taking a shot at the end zone. And Perry has put a lot of time into his passing. It's certainly not a strength of his game, but they tried to expand that portion of the offense this year.
Well, decent protection on this. He steps into a throw that, if it had gotten to its mark, probably would have been intercepted down the field. Khalid Kareem gets a hand up and deflects it, thankfully, from Malcolm Perry's standpoint.
Back in the game, so Bijan Nichols will come on for a 27-yard field goal here at the end of the half. And Nichols gets Navy on the board. You can hear the brigade of midshipmen in the background with their cheer. Their guys on the board. Navy gets it to start the second half. They're down 35. State Farm halftime report coming up after these messages and a word from your local station. You're watching Notre Dame football on NBC.
You got to treat this game the right way. Why not have some more fun? Let's go have some more fun out there at their expense. We work too hard. We spend too much time working to get to these moments. Finish this off. Let everybody enjoy this and this moment together in our stadium for us, for nobody else, just for these guys right here. But it's going to require everybody to lock in the same way. That was unbelievable. Unbelievable what you're capable of doing. That's mental toughness. You have that. You got to do it again. Are we up for that?
Brian Kelly setting the tone just a moment or so ago in the Notre Dame locker room as we're set for the second half. You got to find your guys in the right place at 38-3 as we check the first half stats presented by FanDuel, and those 3 turnovers really flipped the game. Doug Flutie and Notre Dame took advantage with the superior athletes in this one to jump out to this big margin.
No doubt about it. The only way Navy had a chance today was to play flawless football, control the clock, march the ball, and it appeared early on like they were putting some first downs together, but the ball's been on the ground 3 times, and it got ugly in a hurry in the first half.
We'll see how both teams will play this the rest of the way. Certainly get the second half started with your starters, I would assume. Touchback there. Dave, you'll get it to 25, and we'll get to check in with Catherine Tappan.
Well, yeah, Mike, Brian Kelly told me at halftime his biggest takeaway from his team's performance in that first half was their energy. He was so pleased with the offensive execution. He loved the takeaways on defense. And as for those substitutions, he told me don't expect to see any substitutions until at least late in the third quarter or the fourth. And Ken Niumatalolo told me he told his guys just keep playing, keep fighting. We can't give up with big plays to a team like Notre Dame, but we haven't been down like this all season, so keep your head up, Mike.
All right, Catherine. Good stuff from both head coaches.
And talking to Clark Lee today before the game, he sounded excited about the enthusiasm of this defense.
Perry's going to keep and run here. Alohi Gilman will tackle him after a gain of 11 yards. It's neat to see Alohi Gilman and Malcolm Perry together. They were freshmen together at the Naval Academy. Alohi Gilman then transferred to Notre Dame, where he's played the last couple of seasons. He talked about how freshman year those 2 guys went at it. Said they'd fight every day. And now they get to share the field again as opponents. Continue that football fight. Jamel Carruthers the gain to the 40-yard line.
But they are friends.
Yes.
And it's a respect. Just they would get after it with each other in practice. There's a good shot of Alohi.
Yep, from 2016. And against Notre Dame, it really opened the eyes of a lot of folks. Wow, this guy can play. And Gilman had those dreams of playing at the professional level perhaps someday. A very difficult conversation that he had with Ken Niumatalolo, the Navy head coach, both Hawaiian, both from similar areas. Matter of fact, Gilman's mom grew up right down the street from where Ken Niumatalolo grew up, and they've known each other. So it was a really tough conversation to say he wanted to transfer, but he did, and it has been very beneficial. Flag here on the midshipman.
Offense number 72. 5-yard penalty remains. Second down.
Also said that those years, or the year at the Naval Academy, changed his life. Like he still takes those lessons learned from there and made him mature in a hurry.
Fort Higgins called for that false start. The center, and they get the penalty yardage back with Keone Cordell Makakau. We mentioned Higgins, the center, who's called that flag. The undersized guy, 260 pounds, going up there against people a lot bigger than him most times. Mathematics, applied math major. A terrific leader. He's the captain of all captains. So what does that mean? Not only is he a football captain, but of all the captains, all 33 sports at Navy, varsity sports, he's the captain of all the captains. Such a great deal of respect that his fellow athletes and the rest of the brigade of midshipmen have for the senior from Norcross, Georgia. This is 3rd and 8. Malcolm Perry pitching. And on the edge, it's Taj Malloy and Drew White. Joins Jameer Jones and Alohi Gilman. It'll be 4th down, and looks like Navy will go for it.
Well, in weeks past, this ball's out on the edge. It's actually not poorly blocked, and they go through the right progression, get the ball on the edge. Boom, right there. He's got a chance to get the. Just Notre Dame's faster. Close it, keep inside out, come up with the tackle.
And I think they've made a late decision. They were up over center, ready to look over to the sideline to get the instructions from the coach, and now they're just going to punt it. And they'll bring out Owen White, whose career average just under 42 yards, is 3rd all-time in the history of Navy football. He will not bounce help him out a little bit. 37 yards. Couldn't add to that average and take it higher. Ball out of the 22. Irish are going to get it 3 minutes into the 3rd. And 38-3 is the ND lead. Notre Dame football is brought to you by the all-new 2020 Lincoln Aviator. By Discover It Miles Car. Learn more at discover.com/travel. And by Allstate, reminding you that football season is mayhem. Some of the images over the years of Notre Dame and Navy played in a dozen different cities, including Dublin, Ireland, back in 2012, and that's where it will be played next year, week 0, starting the college football season. Notre Dame and Navy, a Navy home game, will be played in Dublin. The series goes overseas next year. Ian Book back at it. Chase Claypool ruled incomplete as Diego Fagot, the linebacker, one of 7 kids. He was homeschooled. He's had a standout first couple of seasons at the Naval Academy, and he broke up that play to Claypool.
Can't lose your intensity just because of the score. Now, you stay focused on offense here and execute one play at a time.
The 2nd down, and Tony Jones Jr. got his right leg clipped out there by Jackson Pittman on that carry and limits the game. Jackson Pittman and Jackson Perkins, the 2 inside Jacksons. And Jones comes off to the sideline.
Yeah, he looked like he was limping a little bit. Might have come up. I don't know. He kind of slipped to the ground oddly.
So Sibo Flemister is the running back for this 3rd and 7. And 4 in the pattern. Now Flemister joins him. Book's got nobody open. He starts to create and just flings it downfield. Trying to stay in bounds is Keys, and he did. Lawrence Keys with a terrific catch at the 48-yard line. It's 27 if it stands.
3rd down. Navy does everything they can. They fake the blitz. They drop out. They cover everyone. And now Ian Book just goes into scramble mode. Sibo Flemister slipped out of the backfield, but he goes to scramble mode and makes a play. Better athletes.
And they're going to stop this and look at it upstairs to see if, in fact, it was a catch.
The ruling on the field of the completed pass is under further review.
Yep, got that right foot down in time. And even the left, that would have been good on Sundays and Thursdays and Mondays.
That ball was thrown 30 to 40 yards downfield, rolling to his left. He had to snap his hips around and delivered a strike. Ian Book's relaxed. He's relaxed and just turning it loose.
I'm glad you said that, Doug, because that's what Brian Kelly said to us. After that Virginia Tech play, remember coming off the Michigan game, this ability to stay in the pocket and keep plays alive.
Just a great job defensively, really. Bluff the blitz, back out of there, cover, but he's got all day to throw, moving around, hold the ball, wait for someone to get open, and it's athleticism that comes into play. They're snapping the hips. I mean, almost 10 seconds. You cannot cover that long.
And confirmed a catch. You talk about snapping the hips. Everybody on social media had fun with that Dak Prescott video that we showed from Sunday Night Football. but that gives you a good sense of using the hips and how important that is for a quarterback in throwing the ball.
You throw the ball with your lower bodies. I had no upper body strength at all. Everything came from the lower body to hips. Leg drive.
A first down. Book going to take a shot to Chris Fink in stride to the 20-yard line. And Fink coming off a game ball 2-touchdown performance against Duke with 28 on that ground.
Well, this is pass Kelly 7-on-7. Nice pocket, just stand in there firm, wait for your corner route. Post route on the outside, clears it out. Nice vision. That's exactly what the quarterback sees from that viewpoint. Quarters beater, coach.
4 defenders taking each quarter of the field across, and here's Book with a pass to the end zone. Incomplete. I want to come back to Book again and what Brian Kelly was telling me, you, Catherine, and Chris during our production meetings. After that Virginia Tech touchdown, and he scored, remember, coming off the Michigan game, all the stress and all the pressures. The next week on the football field at practice, he looked alive. His arm looked so loose, and that continued in the Duke game. You can speak to what a quarterback's got to feel when that pressure comes off you.
Boy, you know, all the pressure you could see it in the first half of the Virginia Tech game all the way to the end. That last drive made a world of difference. Your vision opens up, you relax, you throw the ball with ease.
Pressure coming, going to get hit, but he throws to Tony Jones, who couldn't hold on. Who had a walk-in second score of the day.
Boy, Tony Jones just slips up through the middle, little angle route, and I mean, this should be 6. Because Ian Book knows he's going to get hit, so he drifts just a little bit, drifts to the right a step. Great job putting the ball on the money. Tony Jones kicking himself. Little out on the fingertip. Now for a running back, we'll give the receiver, that's a 95% completion. Running back, what, 60? Catch it.
Catch it, period.
Catch it. Running backs don't like being full speed and reaching. They want it in their body.
Book looking for his 3rd 5-touchdown pass game of the season. From the 20, shopping for it here, and Claypool has it! Notre Dame touchdown on a record day for Claypool and Book.
4 touchdowns.
It's an overload blitz, so you're getting Claypool one-on-one again. And these are the catches he has been making all year. And they're not 50-50 balls with Claypool. He finds the ball before the defender gets his head around. Great body adjustment to the ball in the air. Catch it at his highest point. You name them all. Get the feet down, the whole bit. It's seeing the ball before your defender sees it and being under control so you can flip those hips and find it and go up and get it.
There are many players who had 3 touchdown games in Notre Dame history. Maurice Stovall had the 4-touchdown reception game in 2005, and now Chase Claypool has his 4th touchdown game. That's 5 all season, and he's having a really good season. Taking it to another level here today against Navy. 45-3 for the Irish. Sports Day tomorrow. Climax of the thrilling NASCAR season down in South Florida. Winner take all between the 4 best that are left in the Monster Energy Cup Series Championship. 3 Eastern on NBC. 4 will start with a chance to win the title. Harvick, Hamlin, Busch, Truex Jr. 1 will win. Texting with Dale Earnhardt Jr. down there earlier this morning. Dale Jr. says it's the toughest Final 4 in the history of this format. There is no clear-cut favorite, so every lap matters. Pretty big deal. Championship on the line tomorrow here, 3 Eastern on NBC. Ian Book, 5 touchdown passes for the 3rd time this year. He's the first quarterback in Notre Dame history with 3 games of 5 TD passes in a single season.
It's when he's relaxed, and it has been against Michigan or Georgia, but when he is relaxed out on the field and just playing, his ability takes over. The post route he threw earlier today to Claypool was, or actually maybe it was the Lindsey one, just
yes, it was
phenomenal.
26 touchdowns. Brady Quinn is the 2 top touchdown pass season records, but making a move on that. Here's Michael Cooper with a catch for a gain of 15 yards. 2nd reception for Cooper, the top pass catcher for Navy at 9 coming in.
That was a nice little route by Cooper, a little move on his corner route, but that's a nice throw and catch for these guys. I mean, that's something that Navy football is not. They don't drop back and just throw the ball. Cooper has the ability to, he's a route runner, catches the ball well, and blocks like no other.
Deep drop, Malcolm Perry looking again. Flushed. Usu Koromoa got blocked nicely by Malloy. And up in the air. Cooper couldn't bring it in.
Just keeping a play alive, which he can do. Cooper knows he should have come up with that, but that ball was in the air so long. He started running back to it, was probably afraid of getting blown up, but ended up having enough time to make that play. He knows it.
Niumatalolo's wide receivers have to block a lot. We asked Cooper when we met with him in Annapolis this week about, would you rather have one of these 27-yard average catches or a good block? There's a big hit there with Perry and Kyle Hamilton. Perry gains it to the 44-yard line. Cooper told us, that block is pretty good. It's a game of inches, and when we can make a little room for our guy, that's okay. Down to Catherine.
Well, you guys were talking earlier about Ford Higgins, the center who is undersized at 6'2". He told me this week, people look dumbfounded when they find out that I play offensive line, but I've just never thought of my size as a disadvantage. A huge part of football is your mental game, and if you go into any situation thinking you're at a disadvantage, then you're already losing, Mike.
See him in there battling, trying to keep Howard Cross the third out of the backfield as Perry floats it. Pass is incomplete with Kyle Hamilton over there in coverage and slow to get up for the Irish.
Well, we're talking about Higgins at center here being undersized. He gets the job done. Wow, he's right in front of Perry here, making his block. But hey, you don't know how big you are on a field. You're just fighting your tail off every play. Just give him credit for standing in there with a 300-pounder and smacking him around a little bit, and he will fight all day long. Looks like Hamilton's going after the ball in front.
Yeah, he had undercut C.J. Williams, the slot back out, trying to catch the pass. Hamilton did get up and walk over to the sideline. And Owen White will kick it away again for Navy. It's so rare to see Navy dropping back and throwing 3-4 times on that drive. Chris Fink from the 11. We'll bring it back shy of the 20, and that's where the Irish will take over. They have scored on every drive here today and have a 42-point lead midway through the third. Big night tomorrow night. The Bears and the Rams both have struggled this season. Can't afford another loss. Two of the great stars, Khalil Mack and Aaron Donald on defense. We'll start with Football Night in America, 7 Eastern on NBC. Certainly talk about a lot of the back and forth today with Colin Kaepernick and the workout, the NFL organized workout that he didn't do, did his own workout that's being live streamed. Very detailed story, and we'll sort through it in addition to getting you ready for the games tomorrow night on Football Night. Well, Ian Book, 5 touchdowns. Enough work. He'll rest the rest of the game. Phil Jurkovec is in for the Irish at quarterback, the sophomore from Western Pennsylvania, who has Doug started to put together a little more consistency in his appearances as the number 2 quarterback.
No doubt about it. We saw him last spring look a little uncertain and shaky, and then come in this year. He's had good success through camp. There was a real turning point during training camp. And I saw him throwing a ball in pregame, and he is slinging it. He has a very strong arm.
From the 20, he takes a shot there, and his pass is caught at the 38-yard line by Braden Lenzy. He hung in there, and a gain of 18.
He stands in there, throws this ball. It's got to go 40-45 in the air, all the way from the wide side of the field, and taking a hit. I said I saw him throwing the ball in pregame. He started throwing really overhand and throwing these lasers like 30 yards. I walked over to Cole Kmet because I wasn't sure he was in shorts. I'm going, that's Jurkovec, right? And he's like, more over the top than I've ever seen him throwing the football.
Interesting. Jafar Armstrong to the left. He gains about 3 yards. Chris Sims, you were here with all of us back in August as we were watching summer camp, and we were watching Jurkovec's motion, which was unique and did need a little bit of tailoring.
Definitely needs some tailoring, but I mean, Doug's hitting on a lot of the right points. The ball's coming out of his hands cleaner in warm-ups, where you're seeing better spirals, better accuracy, and he's so big out here. That's the other thing. Pressure, people around him, he's unaffected like we just saw with that big throw there a second ago.
6'4", 230. That was a backwards pass and a loss of 2 as Jacob Springer makes the tackle on Jafar Armstrong. Back to that sweet throw he had earlier in this drive.
I mean, it's your first throw of the game, right? And you're sitting there flat-footed with a guy coming at Springer, closing in on him, getting hit in the chest. And this ball's 40 yards on a rope out to the wide side of the field, just gets it there in time. he was throwing in warm-up. It almost, I don't know how many people remember Jim Palmer's motion of over the top, but it was almost intentional exaggeration of going over the top.
Great Baltimore Orioles Cy Young Award-winning pitcher back in the 70s.
I'm old.
And underwear model as well. Pass is caught by Armstrong. And he'll be shy of the 40-yard line. 4th down.
I mean, he really, I saw him exaggerating it in pregame, but that's, see, it almost comes to a straight arm when he gets to the top of the release. It's a little different. It's still a little quirky, but it's a little quirky, I would say, but the ball is coming out. I don't care how you do it. Get the ball from A to B, hit your guy in the chest, because God knows I threw the ball from every direction.
This is the first punt of the day, so Jay Bramlett fans, you get to see Jay for the first time in a punting role. 36 yards, juggled and caught by Garrett Wynn at the 26-yard line. About 2/3 of the way through the game, it has been a Notre Dame Saturday, to say the least, putting it on Navy. Game in Iowa City, new quarterback in, Perry Olson for Navy, who is bent back there with no gains. Bo Bauer and Houston Griffith leave the Irish over there defensively. Perry Olson is a freshman, dug a bit bigger at 6 foot, 210 pounds. Man from Yukon, Oklahoma.
He's what we're used to seeing as a Navy quarterback, more physical type runner, tuck it up, get the 4 or 5 yards, try to keep it down a distance, can throw the football, but he's not the elusive runner of a Malcolm Perry by any stretch.
You see Olson replacing Perry, who did go over 100 yards yet again, although it didn't feel like it the way the game was so one-sided, as Nelson Smith carries a couple yards shy of the first down. Olson played the entire 4th quarter in place of Perry when the blowout was going in the other direction on November 1st, a couple of weeks ago, Friday, in East Hartford, Connecticut, I should say, as they played Yukon. Smith remains down. Second leading rusher in terms of attempts and yards for Navy being looked at, sharing that fullback spot with Jamel Carruthers. And one of the reasons Malcolm Perry's out, and one of the reasons you have the concern here is you watch Smith take this hit and get tied up on the way down, is Navy has a lot to play for coming up here the rest of the season. As Liam mentioned at the start, they are tied with SMU, and Memphis also has one loss in their half of the American Conference, the American West. And with some help and a couple of wins, they can play in the championship game of their conference. So Navy and SMU are both 5-1. Memphis is 4-1. Conference games against the aforementioned Mustangs, and then at Houston in a couple of weeks. And then, of course, the Army-Navy game in Philadelphia, December 14th. But if Navy ends up atop the West, then there'll be another game on that schedule. They play the American Athletic Conference Championship game before playing the annual game against Army. Run up inside for Jamel Carruthers.
So if all of that happens, remaining with just, well, now this one blows it up a little bit, doesn't it?
It does,
blew up that theory.
Well, the chance of playing for a New Year's Six game is what you're talking about. If Navy would have at least played very well here and may have been able to maintain their ranking, stay just outside the top 25. And that Memphis-Houston game is a very big game, only in the 2nd quarter, but a 1-point lead, 21-20 at the moment for Memphis. Navy needing Memphis to lose once here along the way, and then winning those last 2 games against SMU and Houston, as Olson carries near midfield. A little convoluted, a little confusing, but essentially they had a chance to win their conference and play the conference title, which they did in their first year in this league when they played against Temple.
And it goes back to giving them something more to play for than being an independent. And that's one of the arguments with Notre Dame of not being in a conference. You get to this point of the season, and you're basically playing for your bowl placement and your rankings. But the national championship, once it's out of the picture, what are you playing for? The big question mark. And for Navy, they still play for a conference title.
And the American has been a very good league this year. And there is the run by Olson. Will take it for the first down to the 43-yard line as he followed his blockers for a gain of 7. Bo Bauer, the tackle for the Irish.
Yeah, we saw Nelson Smith get banged up and go out of the game, and he had been the starting fullback and carrying the ball a bunch this year, only second to Malcolm Perry. And then Carruthers took over, more explosive at that fullback position. And they interviewed Smith about it, and he's like, you know what? He's more explosive. He catches the football, and I'm learning from him.
Right.
And it's just the mentality is a team mentality of everybody doing their job and helping each other out, and he was okay with it.
Barry Olson has only thrown 3 times all year. There's his 4th, and it's a touchdown for Michael Cooper. 2nd touchdown of the year for Cooper, and good for Perry Olson. 1st touchdown pass of his college career at Notre Dame Stadium.
Well, it's probably Houston Griffin that gets turned and goes the wrong way in the middle of the field. But this shows you if you're not the starters and you're not executing exactly on par with this option offense, you're going to turn people free. Cooper's an explosive receiver, gets by the secondary off play action, down the middle of the field.
And a 43-yard touchdown for Cooper, helping that sweet average that you mentioned earlier. The extra point is added by Bijan Nichols, and it's 45-10. Well, it's a good moment for the offense. Ken Niumatalolo and the offensive coordinator Ivan Jasper in his 20th year at Navy. He's been the offensive coordinator the last dozen years. When we saw them a couple of years ago, the story that was of such concern was his son, Jaron, who was in need of a heart transplant, received that heart transplant. And the update is so good a couple of years later, after coming back home and taking medication on a regular basis to continue to make sure that the transplant keeps. He is doing great. Look at him. He's grown to 6'2". He loves his basketball and is, as Ivan said, feeling good, enjoying life. When we were there in Annapolis, he had just gotten his driver's license. So life's important stresses for being a teenager have replaced those life-threatening stresses that he had a couple of years ago.
The new stresses start to take over the everyday teenager life. And that's great.
Yeah.
That's great that will be the focus.
And it's so good to hear, and so good to visit with Ivan. See that Jaron is doing well. So Jaron, I know your dad's team isn't doing its best, but we are all thrilled for you. As that one was popped up and caught back at the 18-yard line. The Notre Dame offense is so excited to see Colin Grunard, the backup center, make the catch.
Let's go!
With confidence. With confidence. He called for the fair catch. We missed the fair catch signal, but he called for it. Komet's looking at it like, are you kidding me? You're going to go. Okay.
They're giving him a tough time down here, too. Brian Kelly's looking at him going, run it. I mean, what are you doing fair catching it?
Well coached. You got it back to the 25-yard line, so it's like an 8-yard return, and everybody came over to share some love. He got right in front of Brock Wright, the tight end, who was trying to catch it, and now Grunard will snap it. Can't get the ball out of his hands. The drive starts at the 25-yard line with Jerkovic in at quarterback. And Jafar Armstrong delivers the blow, and a gain of 5 to the 30-yard line.
We may just see standard run plays through the offense. I know you want to get Jerkovic some work throwing the football, but now you're going to be in manage the clock mode and just execute, get the offensive line executing. The second teamers that, we've seen it all year. The whole right side was brand new. You never know who's going to have to step up.
They move some pieces around. Dylan Gibbons, who's seeing action. He's the next guard in the lineup after all the injuries, 76. He's next to John Dirksen, who's in at right tackle. It's the Irish second-line players who were third-teamers just a couple of weeks ago in some cases because of the injury advance forward. There's a carry for Armstrong for 3 yards. It'll bring up 3rd down. And this is a Notre Dame team that, at the start of the season, you're saying, what's Notre Dame going to do? Can they get back to the playoff? A lot of folks thought they'd be maybe a 10-win team. The difficult games for Ian Book and company in Athens and in Ann Arbor. And they lost both of those. The way they lost the Michigan game changed the atmosphere around this season. But a strong bounce-back effort, most complete performance, I thought, last week at Duke. And a good effort here today, and now all of a sudden beat BC in Senior Day next Saturday. And then go out to the Farm and beat Stanford the Saturday after Thanksgiving. It's a 10-win season that almost went exactly as predicted. Paul Carruthers, the captain for Navy's defense. Comes up with the tackle on Jafar Armstrong. And quarter 3 will come to a close. Each team scored a touchdown. The Irish lead remains 35. 45-10 after 3, fourth quarter coming up here at Notre Dame Stadium. We'll be back with that after these messages from your local station. You're watching Notre Dame football on NBC. Over $1 million has been given out already. Another $100 grand handed out tomorrow night. Get your picks in ahead of the Bears and Rams on NBC. Sunday night 7 comes your way whenever you download the app and choose to play. Fourth down, fourth quarter begins. Mike Tirico, Doug Flutie, Chris Sims, Catherine Tappan, Terry McCauley. Here in South Bend, Jay Bramlett's kick will be fair caught at the 33-yard line by Garrett Wynn. Update, let's check in again with Liam.
Mike, thanks so much. Some big news. Aaron Suttles of The Athletic. He is the Alabama beat writer. Says Tua Tagovailoa out for the season with a dislocated hip and a posterior wall fracture. That is a person with knowledge of the situation telling Aaron Suttles of The Athletic. So big news out of Alabama.
Yeah, that will have a significant impact at multiple levels. You know, Chris Sims started to think about, obviously, Alabama. First of all, you think of Tua, the Alabama and their health the rest of the season as they were trying to stay in the playoff mix. But obviously, a lot of folks are thinking Tua is going to become a top NFL pick, and this injury might change that. Here's a deep ball that is dropped. Almost a touchdown and a home run shot hit for Ryan Mitchell. Perry Olson put it out there. Mitchell couldn't bring it in. Back-to-back touchdowns for Navy. But Chris, back to that Tua story there. That's going to have many implications as we watch this.
Huge implications, because you talk about him, Joe Burrow down at LSU, Justin Herbert at Oregon. Those are the three guys everybody's talking about being top 10 picks, who could potentially be that first-round pick. And now Tua might be in a decision where he might have to just come back to college football. I don't know how the sun plays out when all's said and done. Oh my God!
Intercepted out of the air by Paul Moala, the local star. Took the option pitch and turned it into 6. What a play!
Ryan Mitchell has one off his fingertips, could be a touchdown the other way. And Moala just reaches out, just gets a little piece of it, which creates a tip off the running back and in the air. He reaches out.
Did he get it first?
No. I think he got a hand in there.
Close, very close. And Miles Fells was the intended back. And Moala, local product, Penn High School, just a couple exits away from South Bend in Mishawaka, Indiana. Goes in and takes it for a touchdown. Irish are taking a timeout before the extra point.
I believe he redirects this ball, even if it might already be in Wells' hands.
Totally.
Great play, phenomenal play.
It's officially a fumble returned for a touchdown because it was a backward pass on the pitch. So it's a fumble return, not an INT. For Moala, who had mostly played special teams throughout his first couple of years. So it's a pretty memorable moment for a local product.
He played quarterback, made the quarterback pitch the ball, and then reacted in time to get a hand on the pitch. That's great football.
And Doug, you talk about the speed of Notre Dame's guys up front. He's been able to see, Brian Kelly, 3 times his defensive players get a hand on the ball at one of those junction points.
Yeah, it's making a mistake at full speed idea of, you know what, here's your response, go. Just be an athlete. We're better athletes than they are. Go be an athlete.
52-10, the Irish defense gets on the board. And everybody's got a hug and a high five for Paul Moala. Notre Dame football is brought to you by Ram Trucks, built to serve. By Vanguard, together we're changing the way the world invests. And by FanDuel. This season, there's more ways to win on FanDuel. You know, the game is one-sided, but it's worth staying to the end of the game because the end of the game tradition's been going on for the last several years in this series. Navy Blue and Gold will play before Notre Dame, Our Mother, the 2 fight songs, and the Notre Dame players will go down to the Navy side for Navy Blue and Gold, and then they'll come back, both teams together, for the Notre Dame alma mater. It's a pretty cool scene to some of the traditions that are around both of these schools. This will be a fair caught. The ball will be taken out to the 25-yard line as Chance Warren makes that catch. Well, the sun's setting here in South Bend as we're around 5:15 local time. Dougie reminds us of our trip to Annapolis, farther east, so the sunset was a little bit earlier. And the sunset happened during Navy's practice. It was one of the coolest things we've seen. When the sun rises and the sun sets at the yard on the Academy campus there, Colors is played, and practice came to a complete stop.
I was in awe. I mean, here you're in a high-intensity practice. Guys flying around full speed, boom, come to a stop, helmets off, at attention. It shows you there's a higher purpose there, and the recognition of it. They could be in the middle of a rep, and they would stop what they're doing.
And that's exactly what happened. The practice has the offense on one field, the defense on the other, as Isaac Rios takes that ball for a gain of a yard or two. So the offense is on the field right by the water there in the bay in Annapolis. The defense is on the other field. They'll take their helmets off and turn towards the nearest flag, and everybody knows where the flag is. And they stop for the moment as Colors is played. And then when it's over, practice picked up right with that very next rep.
Football, but it shows you that there's more than just football on their mind, and it's just one part of their day is football. I mean, it starts at 6 a.m., 5 a.m., whatever on, and the intensity of it. It was just a great atmosphere to be here at practice. And when we had a chance to talk to them, I mean, they're different kind of kids. They're on one knee, eyes are on you, at attention, listening to every word you say, and it just shows you the type of individuals that come out of the Navy.
Worth every second of that trip. Catherine?
Yeah, guys, and to echo that, I'm down on the Navy sideline, and Mike, you guys were talking about the higher purpose. I mean, there's a sense of positivity on this sideline. They're encouraging each other. Ivan Jasper, the offensive coordinator, but you guys were talking about his son, Jaron, earlier. He's the first one to come up to guys and pat him on the helmet, say, keep your head up, let's go, keep going. They recognize that this is not the way they wanted this game to go, but clearly they are staying positive in the moment and keeping each other encouraged down here, guys.
It's part of what is being built. The women and men who make up the brigade of midshipmen, 4,400 strong. When lunch was served, as we had the chance to go to lunch there, Navy taking a time out, the Commandant,
Navy,
Captain T.R.P. Cannon, addressed everyone. Brigade leaders for next semester were recognized, and the cheers and the support. The one takeaway that I had that I had never experienced from time not spending time amongst the midshipmen was the amount of leadership within. As a matter of fact, we were talking to a couple of players about that exact thing, and as seniors, you're in your last year there, you're getting ready for your assignment for what your military future is going to be, yet you're still concerned with football, everything going on in your life, and younger folks who you're looking after. Jackson Perkins reminded us of that. And he said, I've got a couple of freshmen who I have to look after and make sure they're keeping up on their studies, and hey, they've got to learn all the ships that make up the force in the Navy, and I'm quizzing them on it, and if they get 100 on their quiz, I buy them a smoothie.
Because it's a lot less headaches for him if they're doing their job and taking care of business. He doesn't have to watch them as closely. And it's a chain of command that's passed down. You know, you're in charge of these individuals, and they're in charge of those, and you're at the top of the chain. So you keep your guys in line, encourage them, give them a little bit of a benefit for staying in line, and they'll take care of their own business.
There's Jackson. You saw him on the sideline there, the starting defensive end. Isaac Rios with the carry. That'll be very close to a first down. Jackson's the one who grew up with Cole Kmet, the Notre Dame tight end. He was telling us about he's a yard short of the first down, so it'll be a keeper by Olson to get the first down and keep this drive going for Navy. 90 seconds into the fourth quarter. How about this? Starting in first grade. This is a little bit older, but youth football all the way through. These two kids were on the same team, and they came to camp here at Notre Dame back in the day and have known each other for quite some time. They went to different high schools, but they grew up starting from first grade as football teammates, and here they are meeting each other at this level.
Jackson said, Cole might be a little faster, a little more athletic, but I'm grittier.
That's exactly what he said. You see Cole, the Notre Dame tight end, with the jacket on there. Perry Olson to throw, going to put one up for grabs, and it's incomplete. Houston Griffith down there on coverage for the Irish.
They're in good hands with Perry Olson when it's time for him to play. He moved in the pocket very comfortably there, and he's thrown a couple of nice balls down the field. And when he runs the option game, he runs physically, can get that 3 or 4 yards at a clip. They're in good hands.
His grandfather, Ray, played football at Tulane. His uncles also have played some college football. There's a Gruos, the fullback, with the carry. One more time there.
Once the second teamers have gotten on the field for Notre Dame, the guys that maybe didn't get as many reps this week in practice, all of a sudden guys are glaringly open down the field, and a little crease happens here and there. So it shows that this option football can be effective. But I think the difference today was the ability of Notre Dame to penetrate, get into the backfield, and disrupt.
So DJ Brown, number 12, a safety from Annapolis, Maryland, sophomore playing for Notre Dame. Moala chasing Olson around the edge. As Bo Bauer is joining Drew White, those middle linebackers are cleaning up everything from the middle. Makes the tackle there.
Middle linebackers are scraping along the backside, trying to chase to get to what would be quarterback run lane.
So Khalid Kareem, who forced 2 fumbles earlier, went out briefly but was back in after he had to leave the field with the athletic training staff. Just had the wind knocked out of him in the first quarter. 4th and 3. Navy will go for it, and pitching it with Miles Fells, who will get the first down as Tariq Bracy tackles him right around midfield.
Well, this is what Coach Ken Niumatalolo would have liked to have seen early in the game. That methodical, it just didn't happen early, and the turnovers killed him. But you know, it can be done against, and he showed this against elite teams, to be able to control the clock. If you can just keep from turning the ball over, you had a shot.
Well under their best in the biz average in terms of running the ball. Irish are going to see the 4th best yards per game average team next week in BC. Olson rolls and gets back to the line of scrimmage. Chris?
Well, the thing that jumps out to me, guys, and I know we talk about it a lot, but Notre Dame, we've talked about how well Navy's coached, but how about Notre Dame? I mean, just the game plan Clark Lee has had. We've seen teams come out against Navy and kind of had their head on the swivels, don't know where the ball's going, and of course, I just felt like Notre Dame was dialed in from the get-go today, and great game plans on both sides of the ball by Chip Long and Clark Lee that really put Notre Dame in the aggressive position early on and had Navy on their heels, which you don't see very often early on in the game.
Great point pitch there. C.J. Williams, he'll get the first down at around the 41-yard line.
It's a sleepless night week as far as preparing for option football. But just before game time, talking to Clark Lee, he was more relaxed than I've seen him all year. He felt good about the week of prep, that his guys were excited to play and energized, and that they were going to turn them loose and let them play and not sit back and be on their heels. So he felt very confident. You never know. As a coach, you never know.
And Chip Long on the opposite side of that has seen his offense put up 90 points in the last 2 games. So he too feeling good about the way they were able to handle the pressure package coming. First down run for a yard there for Ruos. Tap.
Well, you guys were talking earlier in the game about Drew White, and he's not on the field right now, but he had a big performance last year against Navy, kind of his breakout performance. And he told me this week, in preparation for Navy, you pretty much just throw everything out the window, and then after the Navy week, you bring it right back in and throw Navy out the window.
It's exactly the way these option weeks are. It's such a different animal. It's different to deal with when you don't handle triple option on a regular basis. And obviously seeing it from Army, Air Force, Navy. Georgia Tech was running it with Paul Johnson, adjusting to that. And now they're off to the return to more standard football. So it's a rarity on your schedule unless you play these service academies. So the teams in the American Conference go through this. Same with the teams in the Mountain West who play Air Force.
It'll be interesting to see Navy being in a conference year after year. The teams that face them will get accustomed to preparing for it, and if they start to defend it better and better year by year.
Yeah, Brian Kelly was talking about, hey, look, when you play Ken Niumatalolo in this triple option, it's year-round study, it's a collective deal. He's got a plan for it all the time. Ruos on the edge, a big run to the 11-yard line. Dante Vaughn down there, one of the starters still on the field, but a gain of 27 as Navy starts to pile up the yards. And cosmetically will make this look a bit better for them.
Now they get on the edge, and you have to make that defender take you as a quarterback. Moala stepped down to take quarterback, balls pitched out on the perimeter, and sure enough, they got the edge. And, you know, like I said, with second team players in, if you're out of a position by a couple of feet or late getting somewhere for an assignment, that's what Navy takes advantage of.
Ruas 4 yard.
Going back to what we were talking about now, Notre Dame facing the option. All right, all this time and effort that went into this. Next week, flip it over. You're playing Boston College, a standard running game, a team that likes to throw a bunch of tight ends on the field, a team that has 2 power backs and can hammer the football in a conventional way. It's a whole different challenge, a whole different defense, and you got to put this behind you and move forward.
Boston College off this week,
which Brian Kelly absolutely loves. Another team getting 2 weeks to prepare for him.
7 different times this year the Irish opponent has been off before the Notre Dame game. Olson with the carry down to the 3-yard line.
Hey, to your guys' point, and again about the coaches of Notre Dame, the fact that they had a little period in practice this week where they went back to, hey, let's get away from the triple option preparation and all those things.
Yep. Shane Simon is down for the Irish, so they'll have to check on him. We'll check out for a minute. Shane Simon, the linebacker from West Orange, New Jersey, off the field. He had pointed to his knee when he went down, so they'll continue to check on him. 52-10 with under 7 minutes left here at Notre Dame Stadium. Irish have already lost Jack Lamb, dime linebacker, sophomore. He's out for the season with a muscle tear in his hip area. Injured over the last couple of weeks. Ruas fighting. And he will be shy of the 2. And we'll get to 4th down, and Navy will go for it here with 6.5 to play.
Because that is what they do anyway, and there was never a doubt. And create a moment for one of the individuals to have a chance to score a touchdown at Notre Dame Stadium. You know, they are going to keep fighting, and that's what Coach Ken is all about. That's what this team is all about.
This is play 17 of this drive. These are the drives that we got used to seeing Navy in the years they have played close games against the Irish. Ruas looks like he is stopped. Well, the head linesman coming from the top says he's got it. So is the line judge. So 1st down. They immediately came in and said he got the ball to the 2. So it'll be 1st and goal. And this drive will continue.
It just appeared everything came to a stop, but evidently he slipped through. Yeah, right off the outside, veer right at the line. Maybe he got right to it and then pushed back, but just...
He got there. And Bo Bauer collapsed him there on the hit. It's been an easy day for Terry McCauley.
Terry, you on vacation down there?
Nah, I'm paying attention just like you guys are.
Hit 1 touchdown he cleaned us up on. From the 2, it's Olson. Into the end zone, and Perry Olson scores a touchdown. He leads a great drive for Navy down the field. So his first passing touchdown earlier, and this is his 2nd rushing touchdown in the last 2 weeks.
As I said, they're in good hands. I mean, this is an impressive drive. Conversion after conversion. You execute. It wasn't a 1-play, big play drive. It's a 17-play drive, marching the length of the field. 4th down conversions. That's a gutsy little drive, not a gutsy big drive.
Dijon Nichols caps off the 18-play, 75-yard drive. They went 3 for 3 on 4th down. Anchors away as we step away. We got a lot for you for our final Notre Dame game of the season. Senior Day in South Bend. Boston College will come in 2:30 Eastern. It'll be on NBC. It'll also be on NBCSN. Notre Dame fan, the ultimate viewing experience for you hardcore Irish fans. We're doing a little run through, getting ready for that next week. From out of that room right there, we'll be producing the ultimate Notre Dame fan insider broadcast. We'll have the radio broadcast with our friend Paul Burmeister on the call, our NBC colleague, who is the voice of Notre Dame football on the radio. This is Out of Bounds, so the ball will come out to the 35. And in addition to that, guys like Darius Walker
on the kicking team. Notre Dame likes to take the ball 1st and 10 at the 35-yard line.
From the class of 2009. Some other surprises along the way. Limited commercial interruption too. So if we happen to be doing our business here, you can also check them out, go back and forth and enjoy. For those of you who want the Notre Dame Homer broadcast, you're going to get it for you coming up. The ultimate Notre Dame fan next week as they play BC.
You would think BC would play them tough. BC can run the football. But then you turn around and watch the Florida State game last week, and Boston College let up big plays in the secondary. Florida State's athletes took over the game, and it just BC gives you hope once in a while that they can be competitive, and then the big plays happen to them. They have
Jafar Armstrong, kid. I don't know what you know about a BC game played on next Saturday. What day? November 23rd is next Saturday.
Will that be the date?
35-year anniversary.
No, it can't be 35 years.
Yeah, you want to bet?
It can't be. No, don't show this. He's going to drop it.
No, he's going to catch it every time.
Okay. Every
to
time.
Phelan in the Orange Bowl. 35 years to the day of this year that we celebrate one of the great moments. It was the Hail Mary that was thrown, if you will, and appropriately, BC will be here in South Bend to take on the Irish. 35 years to the day. That great moment, one of the seminal plays in the history of college football, as Jafar Armstrong runs for about 6 yards, and we're going to get a chance to share a really unique look of you, Gerard Phelan, a bunch of your BC teammates were back on Chestnut Hill last week to celebrate that team, and it'll be a real special look at a great group of guys and a great moment.
It was so great to see all the faces. I mean, we had over 30 guys there, cool. And it was really cool. We went out and reenacted the play a little bit on the field, and the guys came out and mugged Gerard, and he didn't even know it was coming. And we just, being around each other, you just couldn't stop smiling. And it was a great group. We had a close-knit group back then, and good things happened for us. So that moment was pretty special for us.
There are 8,000 anecdotes about the story, about that play. My favorite is coming up after 3rd and 4 is Jerkovic's going to keep it, and player loses a helmet, and he's just shy of the first down. And it'll bring up 4th and 1. It was Colin Grunhard who lost his helmet there for a second. Favorite of all the years, and you've talked about this a lot, you told us in the car the other night, you didn't know who caught the touchdown pass right away?
No, not at all. I threw it towards, I assumed, Gerard caught one at the end of the half against Temple once, so I figured Gerard's in the mix, but I threw it, I just saw bodies fall to the end zone. I didn't know who caught it. I saw arms go up, and I started kind of laughing to myself and running. I never made it to the pile.
Right.
So about 5 minutes later, on the way into the locker room, 5 to 10 minutes later, I run into our strong safety, Dave Pereira. I go, who the heck caught it?
Are you serious?
Yeah. He's like, Gerard, it was good 5 to 10 minutes before I knew.
Oh, this is the best you didn't know story about one of the great moments in college football. 4th and 1, Jerkovic had to get to the 45. Looks like he did not. And as Catherine said, Navy didn't stop. They keep working, and they're fired up for their sideline. They have stopped the Irish here. We'll get the ball back with 3:19 to go in a game that was 38-3 Notre Dame at the half. Subs above all today. Chase Claypool, record-tying performance for TD Grabs.
What a day for him. A bunch of mismatches. Athletically, going up and getting the ball. He didn't miss an opportunity to make a play. He made them all. Chris?
He is just so impressive of an athlete, the size-speed combination. And like we've seen over the last few weeks, his ability to adjust the back shoulders and jump balls. It's phenomenal. That's why I said I know it's bold, but I think he's put himself in the first-round conversation for receivers, guys.
Perry Olson's pass is incomplete. DJ Brown from Annapolis, Maryland, had the step-for-step coverage. There he is, over 300 yards, 5 touchdowns in the last 3 games. And the 4th today ties Maurice Stovall's 14-year-long record. And Chris, when you think about him in the NFL, the thing I've noticed is his ability to keep his body under control when he goes up in the air to grab those balls. That's what we see on Sundays and Mondays and Thursdays.
Exactly right. It's, you're going to get covered. There's Jalen Ramsey's and great corners in football, but it's can you make those catches when you are covered? And he can do that. We know he's a little still raw and learning the position, but the physical attributes are there. The size and speed is really special, and I think we've seen him improve on some of the nuances of the wide receiver position as this season's gone along.
23 from Miles Fells there as Navy keeps rolling up the yards here in this second half. This is very, very similar to last year's game in San Diego that the Irish won 44-22, but it wasn't that close. Here's a little pitch with a pass option for Chance Warren. Moala chases him. Warren puts it up. He almost threw it to Moala's high school in Mishawaka, Penn High School. Incomplete.
Did he get it to row E? I think he got it.
No, he came close, but Moala was all over him. Touchdown scored for the defense.
Going back to Chase Claypool, though, I think the determination coming into this season to have a great year. We saw it from the beginning. We saw him breaking tackles after the catch, refusing to be tackled, trying to get to the end zone every time he touched the ball. And then in recent weeks, those 50-50 type balls where it's challenged, no doubt about going up and getting it over defenders and getting his feet in bounds, just an awareness on the sideline.
Freshman Jacob Lacey, the 5A Player of the Year out of Kentucky last year from Bowling Green, tackles Perry Olson as we get down towards 2 minutes. And again, a reminder, stay with us when the game ends. It's one of my favorite parts of college football rivalries, watching both schools honor the other institution as the players will go down for both alma maters, much like the Army-Navy game. Gain of 2 there. Kennedy out to Lolo on 4th down. You can send his field goal unit out? Yes, he is.
Don't we want Coach Ken to go for it here? It's just, I know he's taking the points. It's just 4th and long, not their cup of tea with the 4th and 8. Get the points.
Bijan Nichols had the game winner against Tulane, a 48-yarder. His freshman, this is as good a long kicking weapon that we've seen Navy have in quite some time. This is 36 and is plenty good. He's got range right around 54, 55 yards. So that's a good part of this Navy team going forward. 52-20 with 78 seconds remaining. So this Irish season, off the loss in the soaking rain in Ann Arbor to Michigan, was teetering. Virginia Tech, which is playing very good football now, by the way. Virginia Tech had the Irish in trouble. Chase Claypool had one of those terrific wrong foot down catches. This really sparked the Irish. 2 long drives they had. They got to have it 4th down to Claypool. And Ian Book with the dip of the shoulder, the run to the pylon, and the win by 1 after the extra point. Really put this Irish season in a different place. And Doug, for Ian Book, has really propelled him to 2 outstanding games. It
really saved the season for Ian Book in his own mind. He had the weight of the world on his shoulders after Michigan. Played a little tight throughout that Virginia Tech game and turned it loose in that drive. Look at the smile. I mean, you could not find that smile for about 3 or 4 weeks. And he really has turned loose, relaxed, throwing the football. He's gotten his legs involved, obviously with the touchdown run at the end for Virginia Tech. He's much more athletic than a lot of people realize, and that's part of his game.
Fair caught by Keys at the 5-yard line.
He, you know, coming into these games, he should have a big day, and he does. But he's just a different player right now. He's so relaxed. He's under control. His feet are calm in the pocket. The post route he threw today, aired it out, hit Lindsey in stride. I mean, it's just stuff that earlier in the season he might have been hesitant to do, hesitant to turn it loose. And that Virginia Tech game, it was a long drive when they absolutely needed it. They already gotten beat by Michigan. They had the weight of the world on their shoulders, and that game was on the line.
Dracovic will take a knee, do that one more time, and that'll wrap up this one. As we said, next year these 2 teams will play in Dublin, and for Brian Kelly, he'll move to 8-2 all-time against Navy, and this will be overall the 260th victory, if you count the 21 vacated wins in there. Brian Kelly will leave the field, the winning head coach, for the 260th time. 29th Notre Dame head coach in his 29th year of coaching college football. 10 here at Notre Dame, and he has really found a very comfortable place for a job that is defined by discomfort. And people around the country go, "Oh, what's going on at Notre Dame?" and all that stuff. And Brian Kelly can deal with it. He's handled it, and this Notre Dame team has bounced back impressively from a bad loss against Michigan with 3 strong wins at home. 52-20 here today over Navy in South Bend. And after the players do a initial congratulatory handshakes. You'll see it's a cool moment we talked about as both schools' alma maters are played and both teams stay to honor the tradition of each school. Navy will drop to 7-2. They'll drop out of the top 25, but they certainly are still alive to win the West Division of the American Conference. If they can beat SMU, no easy tasks, SMU 9-1, win at Houston and get Memphis to lose one of its last couple of ball games, which includes a Memphis game against Cincinnati on the Friday before Thanksgiving. So Navy could have another game in the conference title game before they play the traditional Army-Navy game. There's Alohi Gilman and Ken Niumatalolo. Gilman, recruited by Niumatalolo, went to Annapolis, transferred after his first year. Alohi said it was a difficult conversation he had, but it's a conversation that was of great respect between the two men. He's come over to Notre Dame and played some good football, and Ken Niumatalolo very understanding of Alohi and what he's done. Almost a century old, Navy blue and gold. Their song that they hope they sing second in Philadelphia in 4 weeks of the Army-Navy game. And the Brigade of Midshipmen will join the players on this Navy team. And those two guys have known each other since they were in first grade. Cole Kmet and Jackson Perkins get to share this moment together as well. Navy blue and gold. Those 2 words, those 8 letters heard so often. Almost like hello and goodbye at the Yard in Annapolis, or any of the many of you to whom we are forever grateful, who have come through Annapolis, served in the U.S. Navy. It's a great college football moment. It's a great American moment, really. Those young men who play football for Navy, the Brigade of Midshipmen, the women and men who've come here today, who are watching all over the country, they are the future leaders, the future officers in the Navy. After those endless days in Annapolis, they go out and protect our freedoms around the country. And our chance to spend time with those individuals is life impacting for all of us. And we say a big thank you. And love the respect between the two sides. After 3 hours on the college football field, the score was one-sided, but the game was played with no cheap shots, a lot of respect, and really what the game represents at its core, the institutions and the individuals. Notre Dame, our mother. Symbolism and our old souls out there, those last 3 minutes are what it's all about. such a pleasure to be associated with such a great sport. To Catherine Tappan with Brian Kelly.
Coach, coming off your most complete effort against Duke last week, what is your biggest takeaway about your team's effort tonight?
They executed flawlessly in the first half, got on a really good Navy team right off the start of the game, and Chase Claypool was outstanding. Ian Book defensively stopped a very difficult offense, and carried that into the third quarter with a big play and cruised to a big victory against a top 25 team.
5 touchdowns again for Ian Book today. That's back-to-back weeks he's done that. What can you say about the confidence of your quarterback right now?
Well, I think people can now safely assume that he is the guy that we thought he would be. Started a little slow. He's found himself. He's the leader of our offense, and our offense is playing at a high level right now as we go down the stretch.
Coach, thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thanks, Catherine.
Mike?
All right, Tap, thank you. Alohi Gilman visiting with some of the Navy players who he was teammates with back in his freshman year. 4 touchdowns in 8 plays. Dominant performance by Notre Dame. That all adds up pretty easily. I'm just struck and will forever leave this week and doing this the last couple of years with you with what we just saw, because everything new is cool, but it's really nice to see something that is from the soul and from the heart.
It's mutual respect. It's understanding what that Navy team goes through on a daily basis and what they're committed to and for the future, as well as being competitive on a football field together. And to see Higgins and Heinisch, guys that went against each other all game long,
right head to head.
At the end, arm in arm, shoulder to shoulder, listening to the alma maters.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. To Catherine Tappan with the touchdown combo that's red hot.
Yes, a touchdown combo indeed. Ian Book and Chase Claypool. Ian, what was working so well for you two today?
I can't say enough about Chase. He works so hard all week. He's a great leader for our offense, and even when the picture doesn't look that clear, he goes up and makes a play, makes my job a lot easier. And it's really just our playmakers making plays. When there's one-on-one battles, and it was about winning those battles tonight, and we did that.
Chase, 4 touchdowns for you in this game. That ties a Notre Dame school record. What will you remember most about this effort today?
It's not possible with all 10 other guys going out there and playing every down for each other, and that's what we kind of emphasized this week, is playing for each other, and that's what we did.
How determined were you, Chase, coming into this season to have a big season this year at Notre Dame?
Every year you want to have a great year, so nothing ever changed for me going into this year, but luckily I got the right teammates to help me do that.
Congratulations to you both. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now let's go to Liam McHugh with some news in the college football picture. Liam.